Chapter 112. Yutong, how about we play another round? Qingye was unwilling to admit defeat. End the last round. Qin Yutong belonged to the type of person who would accompany him to the end, even if it was an all-nighter. It was the last round again. Yi Hua had already heard the last round countless of times. I really can't bear it anymore. Even if it is a childish thing, I still have to do it today. Yi Hua. Brother-in-law, how can you be like this? After unplugging the power, Yi Hua's face was filled with comfort. Even if you don't eat, my child still wants to eat. Isn't it just the last round? So stingy. Qingye pouted her mouth and went back to her room to change her clothes. I can't possibly wear pajamas when I go out, right? Qin Yutong looked at her brother-in-law and said tenderly, Brother-in-law, why aren't you going out yet? Could it be that you want to see sister-in-law change her clothes? Yi Hua took a glance at Qin Yutong, and Qin Yutong immediately crossed her arms around her chest and said shyly, Brother-in-law, big sister is still at the side, don't look at me like that. He's not bad looking. Of course. It's just that he's a little silly. Brother-in-law, Yi Hua turned around and left. This sister-in-law's return has indeed added a bit of joy to me. Qin Yutong, who was in the room, stomped her feet and mumbled, How am I stupid? Master, you are indeed a little silly sometimes. You're the stupid one. You're the most stupid person in the system. Master should understand the meaning of the saying, He who keeps company with ink will be stained black. All right. All of you have come to bully me. I will remember this debt. Master, you'd better write it down in your little notebook. I'm afraid you'll forget the oath you made. Qin Yutong clicked her tongue. Don't mention my dark history. After Qingye finished changing her clothes, she said to Yi Hua, You go and change your clothes as well. It's summertime and you are still wearing a suit. Where is the short-sleeved shirt that you wore yesterday? It's too childish. Don't be long-winded, go in and change. Right now, Qingye didn't want Yi Hua to be too stylish, lest some wild bees fly over to him. Qingye walked downstairs and discovered that Leisure Bar was about to open for business, and everyone was starting to get busy. Madam. Wei Chang walked over and greeted respectfully. Qingye smiled gently. Wei Chang, what's wrong? Wei Chang looked at Tang Wei, who was not far away. She was currently wiping the table and said in a low voice, Madam, Wei Chang has a request. If I can help you, I will definitely help you. Qingye said with a smile. Wei Chang respectfully said, Actually, it's not a big deal. Madam should know that this subordinate is dating little Tang. Qingye went into a slight daze for a moment. This Wei Chang claims to be my subordinate, so strange. However, after thinking about Yi Hua's identity, Qingye felt relieved. This Wei Chang might be Yi Hua's underling, which means that Wei Chang is my underling. When my husband's underling is in trouble, of course I have to help him. I know. Didn't you say it last time? Is it that Yi Hua is too stingy? I will go and talk to him. Upon thinking that Yi Hua was still using Wei Chang's salary in the past, Qingye felt helpless. Wei Chang was greatly startled. I didn't say that his honor is stingy. Madam, you have misunderstood. Subordinate is not talking about this matter. Then what is it? I feel that my relationship with Lil Tang can be improved, but I don't know where to start. Wei Chang was very embarrassed. He felt that he would lose face if he asked someone else, but asking his honor was equivalent to not asking at all. Thus he could only ask the madam. Actually, Wei Chang asking Qingye was equivalent to asking in vain. After all, Qingye was also a newbie. This was the first time that Qingye had encountered this kind of problem, and she still didn't really understand what Wei Chang meant. Improved? To what stage? Qingye asked. Wei Chang let out a breath, then said in a low voice, It is to reproduce offspring. Reproduce offspring, this really made Qingye speechless. Isn't this phrase a little too appropriate? Qingye paused for a moment. This problem is a bit thorny. Thinking back to my own experience, I don't seem to have any process. Yi Hua just pushed me, then when the conditions were right, success would follow naturally. If that's the case, then I can conclude the strategy of a man. Qingye said with an appearance of someone who had been through the same thing. Wei Chang, a man has to take the initiative, he just has to push her down directly. Wei Chang, who had a face full of anticipation, immediately froze. His honor is like this, even Madam gave the same answer. They really don't have any mood at all, just watch an idle drama, that romantic atmosphere. Seems like both his honor and Madam don't have any mood at all and went straight to the point. I, Wei Chang, am a man with mood, how can I be so casual about it? Seems like I can only rely on myself for this matter. Thank you, Madam, for your pointers. Qingye took a glance at the diligent Tang Wei and said, Lil Tang is a pretty good girl, don't let her down. This subordinate will follow Madam's instructions. Qingye really wasn't used to this kind of thing. Does everyone in the cultivation world speak like this? Goosebumps appeared all over his body. Sis, what are you guys talking about? Qin Yutong bounced down the stairs, and when Qinya saw her little sister's face, she immediately blushed with shame. Wei Chang bowed as a form of greeting before retreating. Qinya's eyebrows wrinkled. Why did you change into my appearance again? Big sister, you are beautiful. Qin Yutong held onto Qinya's willowy arm and said with a smile. What Qinya said was right, Qinya merely snorted. Not long after, Yihua walked down the stairs. This was the first time that Qin Yutong saw her brother-in-law wearing a short-sleeved shirt, and she teased, Brother-in-law, you are so childish. Yihua took a glare at Qinya, and the image of his main body was completely gone. With a smile on her face, Qinya walked forward and held onto her husband's arm. All right, let's go and cook hot pot. Qin Yutong immediately held onto her brother-in-law's other side. All right, let's go and prepare hot pot. Qin Yutong. What are you doing? What do you mean what? This is the etiquette of holding hands, do you know? Big sister, you are out. Yihua would naturally seize the opportunity to take revenge. You are indeed out. Just you wait. The three walked out of leisure bar while bickering. Wei Chang looked at his honor and thought to himself, his honor's change is really big. This is all thanks to the madam. At this moment, Tang Wei walked over slowly and called out tenderly, Uncle Wei, Xiao Tang, what's wrong? Uncle Wei, the light at my side is broken. The light is broken, huh? It's fine. Uncle Wei will go and fix it for you after work. All right. Not far away from the alley, there was a hot pot restaurant called King Song's Mansion's Hot Pot Restaurant. The name King Song's Mansion wasn't just for show. In the past, only the nobles could afford to eat at the hot pot, and right now, everyone could feel how fast the nobles' mouths were. Luckily, Yi Hua and the others left the house early, if not, they would have to line up at the restaurant. Even so, there were no more private rooms left, and they could only eat at the main hall. If it was according to Yi Hua's conduct in the past, he definitely wouldn't eat at the main hall, because it would lower his status. However, it was different now. After all, he had done things that were lower than his status before. For example, at the beginning when he bought a Chinese jianbing for the sake of adding an extra egg, he even argued with the aunt for a long time. Add an extra egg for me. 1 egg is 2 RMB. You still want money. It is your honor to be able to eat at your restaurant. Young fellow, it is your honor to be able to eat my Chinese jianbing. Yi Hua expressed that he was unconvinced. After arguing for half an hour, the aunt finally said, Don't think that just because you are handsome, you can do whatever you want. Aunt is also beautiful before, I don't fall for this. Chapter 113. As soon as the three of them sat down, they immediately became the center of attention. A man with a pair of beautiful twins was simply inhumane. They were so beautiful that there was no bottom line. Qin Yutong picked up the menu and muttered, The shop owner of this shop is selling top-grade beef rolls, shrimp sliders and tripe. Just listening to it is enough to make one drool. Just order whatever you want, big sister will treat you. Qinya was very generous. In any case, she could be considered as someone who was poor to the point that she only had money left. Qin Yutong rolled her eyes at her big sister. Even if I were to eat here for my entire life, I still wouldn't be able to finish spending your money. Yutong, you've already taken your photo. If you still plan to stay at your brother-in-law's place, you'll have to pay for your living expenses. Big sister, why are you the same as brother-in-law? Both of you are so stingy. Qin Yutong pouted her small mouth and said, Even though you have so much money, you still want to collect living expenses. Yi Hua was unjustly implicated. When have I been petty? You still say you're not stingy? Brother-in-law, why don't you take out the meat from that day and eat it? You can only eat it once a week. Yi Hua said faintly. I don't want to eat it once a week. I want to eat it every day. When the customers that were sitting around heard Qin Yutong's complaint, they almost wanted to flip the table. I can't endure it. Her sister-in-law wanted meat, but her brother-in-law said that he would only allow it once a week. Her sister-in-law was not happy and wanted it every day. The main point was that the older sister was smiling without saying a word. How could she mess around like this? *CK, where are my Italian cannons? Bombard this affectionate couple. Yi Hua said faintly, not giving. As expected, the sound of chopsticks breaking resounded around them. His sister-in-law was not satisfied, but as her brother-in-law, he refused to give it to her. Let go of sister-in-law and let me do it. Although she was angry, especially when she saw the indifferent look on that man's face, she felt that he was simply inhumane. How could a person resist the temptation of such a beautiful sister-in-law? In actuality, Yi Hua felt that after being hugged by a woman like Qinya to sleep every day, he would naturally become immune to it. Some people did not win at the starting line, but directly appeared at the finishing line. Right when the three of them were waiting for the dishes to be served, a boy suddenly ran in and found a table that was not far away from Yi Hua, and that table just happened to be occupied by a man and a woman. Qing Yutong said sneakily, "I think this boy is definitely here to catch adultery." "How did you know?" Yi Hua asked faintly. Qing Yutong pointed outside. "Just now, I saw him riding a bicycle over." Just when Qing Yutong finished speaking, the voice of a boy could be heard from the other side. Why did you do this to me? I used a bicycle to pick you up for 3 years. This man will pick you up in a Bentley for 3 days. You want to break up with me? Are you worthy of me?" The girl said apologetically, "I'm sorry actually when he came to pick me up on the first day I was already—" The man clutched his chest and retreated weakly. He didn't expect that he had overestimated himself. It turned out that he didn't need 3 days. 1 day was enough. After witnessing everything, Yi Hua said faintly, "Snow White told us one thing, 7 shits are not comparable to a kiss from a tall, rich and handsome man." Qingya rolled her eyes at Yi Hua. Humph, what should I say then? It can only mean that you have good eyesight." Yi Hua said with a faint smile. "Narcissistic. Brother-in-law, you have also watched Snow White before?" Upon hearing about cartoons, Qing Yutong became interested. Yi Hua said faintly, "I have. It was too realistic so I didn't watch it a second time." Bang. Just as Yi Hua was about to discuss about Snow White's plot with Qing Yutong, that boy was knocked onto the ground by a punch from the tall, rich and handsome man, and that girl just couldn't bear to watch on and looked outside the window. "Yi Hua, that boy is so pitiful." Yi Hua took a look. Weaklings are not worthy of sympathy. If the boy who fell onto the ground fought back, Yi Hua would still feel that this boy was not bad, but he didn't. He just covered his face and used his gaze to kill the boy without moving. "Qingya, put away your sympathy." Yi Hua began his lesson. Qingya snorted, "Why don't you have any sympathy at all? Did you stew that dog of yours?" "I wanted to stew it a long time ago," Yi Hua said faintly. "It's just that when a bone dragon is stewed, it really doesn't taste good." Suddenly, Qing Yutong slammed onto the table, startling Yi Hua and Qingya. Qing Yutong could be seen standing up with a righteous look, pointing at the rich second generation and shouted, "How can you hit someone? Even if he is uglier than you. But hitting someone is also wrong." The corner of Yi Hua's mouth twitched and Qingya directly covered her face. "Are you going to help someone or are you going to hit someone when they are down?" "Master is being an idiot again." "Yutong, what are you doing? Sit down." Qingya persuaded, fearing that her little sister would cause trouble. Qing Yutong snorted, "Big sister, you don't have to persuade me. Helping the weak is everyone's responsibility." The boy who fell onto the ground originally didn't feel that it was shameful, but after being scolded by Qing Yutong, he immediately felt his face getting hot, wishing that he could find a hole to hide in. Yi Hua said, "All right, if Yutong wants to act cool, then just let her go. It's fine if you don't care about it, but you even allowed her to act recklessly. You can go too. Last time when we were buying a house, weren't you very good at acting cool?" Yi Hua laughed lightly, but this angered Qingya quite a bit. "The child in my stomach will definitely be born with fire attribute." "Yi Hua, do you want to quarrel with me here? Do you still remember what you called me that night?" Qingya immediately admitted defeat and scolded Yi Hua for being shameless, for always using this joke. Qing Yutong walked forward and helped up the boy whose face was completely red, and when the boy saw that it was actually such a beautiful woman who stood up for him, he felt like he was about to become drunk. Just that, the next sentence that Qing Yutong said almost made the boy vomit blood. "Little brother, don't be afraid with your short arms and legs, you are definitely not his opponent, let me do it." Don't speak, I know what you are feeling right now. Although you are poor and short, if not, your girlfriend wouldn't have abandoned you. This time, I will stand up for you. In the future you just have to get used to it. Qing Yutong patted onto the boy's shoulder and said earnestly. The boy's heart was about to collapse. "Big sister, can you please leave? I would rather be punched by you than to be talked about so miserably by you. Don't pull me, I want to leave. I want to go home." Yi Hua, quickly go and pull her back. Qingya couldn't bear to watch anymore. "Can't you all see that boy's face changing between white and red? I'm really worried that he might suddenly die." Qingya suddenly remembered that Yi Hua had taught me a set of first aid techniques. Last time, that person vomited blood and was still able to be dealt with by me. Seems like if there really isn't any other choice, I can only go out myself. Yi Hua was also amused by his sister-in-law. "It's pretty good, Yutong is very warm-hearted." "How is she warm-hearted? She is more of a hindrance than a help." Qingya held onto her forehead. This is such a headache. The boy's ex-girlfriend couldn't bear to watch anymore. This beautiful lady, don't make things difficult for him anymore. In actuality, he isn't very short. Chapter 114. Not only the girl, everyone who heard it was stupefied as well. So it wasn't a problem of money, but rather it was really short. The boy couldn't take it anymore and shed tears of regret. This is even more painful than breaking up. I thought that she is vain, but it turns out that she doesn't. She just dislikes me, and even said it out. Qin Yutong seemed to know something and was a bit embarrassed as she said while stammering, about that, you don't have to be too discouraged. Think about those men who suffered from erectile dysfunction. Do you feel better after thinking about it? Immediately, the faces of a few middle-aged men in the hall stiffened. The boy seemed as if he was struck by lightning. His girlfriend ran away with a rich second generation, and furthermore it wasn't for money. This is a shame for a man, and he was even exposed by a kind-hearted beauty. I originally thought that I was desperate enough, but I didn't expect that. I underestimated despair. The boy covered his face and ran away desperately. This time he was even more injured than when he just came in. Sorry for disturbing you. Qin Yutong turned around and left. Originally I still wanted to stand up for the boy, but in the end the boy had a hardware problem. This is too miserable. The tall, rich and handsome smiled and did not plan to pursue the matter, appearing like a gentleman. Returning back to her seat, Qin Yutong's pretty face was slightly red. She was extremely beautiful, but this kind of beauty carried a bit of foolishness. Qingya was different, her beauty was noble. Now you know how to be embarrassed, you also have to worry about other people's family matters. Qingya reprimanded. Qin Yutong pouted her cherry lips. I am just helping out when I see injustice. You are just stabbing at the back when you see injustice. Yi Hua added a sentence. What Yi Hua said is right. Can you change your foolish temperament? Qingya poked her little sister's forehead unhappily, and the latter touched her forehead pitifully. In any case, the two of you are just joining hands to bully me, this single dog. Qin Yutong could only vent her anger on the food, as if she had not eaten for a few days, causing the surrounding people to be stupefied. A beauty is a beauty. Even if it is this kind of crazy eating, there is still another kind of beauty, bold and unrestrained. Qingya was different. She was noble and elegant, and she even had to help Yi Hua to wash the hot pot, as if this had already become a habit, and Yi Hua only had to pick up the food that Qingya passed to him. Not bad, not bad. Qingya still did not deviate from her own wishes. While the three of them were eating hot pot, the surrounding customers left one batch after another, and then another batch came. Just that, this batch of customers made Yi Hua and Qin Yutong feel a bit curious. Why did so many cultivators suddenly appear? Or could it be said that they are espers, or could it be said that they are ancient martial artists? Who knows? In any case, in Yi Hua's eyes, they are nothing more than humans. They were just humans of a slightly higher level. Sitting next to him were four middle-aged men who were chatting animatedly. I heard that many sect disciples from the south have come to Long City. It's not just the sect disciples. The ancient martial families, the special ability world, and the cultivation world will all be here in the next 2 days. I wonder if the North will intervene this time. If they do, it will be another bloody battle. How dare the Northerners? The last time an ancient godly item appeared, we didn't even intervene. How would small characters like us know about the inside story? Perhaps you wouldn't even know if we interfered. Ancient godly item, just the name alone makes me excited. I wonder if it will be a weapon, an equipment, or a magic tool. Do you guys know? I heard that Xiao Yi had a narrow victory last night, and it was even under the situation where he took out Shen Yuan's sword. The scene of the battle was just like doomsday. I wonder who Xiao family's family had provoked to actually be so tyrannical. Fortunately, Xiao Yi wasn't killed. If not, the North would be in chaos. I also heard that Nangong Sini announced that she would stay at home to recuperate, and the few companies under the Dragon God Corporation were even transferred. This was told to me by one of my higher-ups. There is definitely some kind of shocking secret within. Sigh, the world of the rich is still not like that. Xiao family's family head is having fun every day. Do you think that just because you have money you will be as happy as you imagined? No, you are wrong. The happiness of the rich is something that you simply cannot imagine. When Yi Hua, Qingya, and Qin Yutong heard what Xiao Yi said, they felt that it was very reasonable. You all simply cannot imagine. The world of the rich is to order takeout every day and eat chicken when you wake up. However, this was the first time that Qin Yutong heard of this matter, and with a face filled with curiosity she asked, "Brother-in-law, did Xiao Yi really pay back the money? Ask your big sister." Big sister, what happened? I just went out and such a big thing happened? Qin Yutong asked anxiously. For a person like Xiao Yi to pay back the money, does he not want his face anymore? Qingya said faintly, he paid back the money with 3 companies. Wow. Brother-in-law, you are awesome. Qin Yutong exclaimed in admiration. In the past, people like Xiao Yi would often act cool and bully people, and I didn't expect that he would fall into the hands of her brother-in-law. Yi Hua picked up the piece of beef that Qingya passed over. It's just a small matter. Brother-in-law, you are acting cool again. Tell me about the process. You didn't even ask me to go and check the accounts. You are not a good friend. Yi Hua said faintly, small matters like checking accounts can be left to the servants. Qingya and Qin Yutong took a look at each other, acting cool again. Yi Hua, is the ancient godly item that they are talking about the treasure that they talked about last time? Big sister, what treasure are you talking about? Why are you all hiding it from me and not bringing me along to play? Qin Yutong pouted her small mouth just like a little child. In actuality, Yi Hua was also a bit curious about the ancient godly item. After all, Yi Hua had a hobby of collecting things, and inside the ring on his finger there were a lot of weapons and equipment, and they were all spoils of war that Yi Hua collected. However, if Yi Hua were to know about the might of Shen Yuan's sword, he would rather stay at home and watch the movie. Do you want to go and take a look? Yi Hua asked faintly. Yes. Yes. Yi Hua thought for a while. Let's treat it as a field trip then. Wow, such a big matter, brother-in-law, you actually treat it as a field trip. Your acting cool is not bad. Qin Yutong smiled cutely. Yi Hua couldn't help but stretch out his hand and knocked on Qin Yutong's head. Impudent. Brother-in-law, it hurts. Qin Yutong rubbed her head and said pitifully. Qingya smiled sweetly. Serves you right for daring to tease your brother-in-law when he is acting cool. Bang! Qin Yutong immediately laughed. Haha, you are still teasing me, brother-in-law, well done. Yi Hua. Just you wait. What are you waiting for? Quickly go and settle the bill, let's go home. The surrounding men looked at Yi Hua, then looked at the tigress in front of them. Other people's wives and sisters-in-law sure are good. I can casually beat them up, and after beating them up they can even act coquettishly. However, those are all other people's wives. After dinner, the 3 of them took a stroll on the street, and Qin Yutong even bought some small accessories and wore them happily. Chapter 115. Returning back to Leisure Bar, it was already around 10 p.m. However, right after walking into the bar, Yi Hua felt that the business today was pretty good. The bar was almost full, just that most of the people that were sitting in the bar were men, and there were very few women. You 2 go up first. Yi Hua said faintly. Brother-in-law, what are you doing? Bring me along to play. Qingya pulled onto her little sister and said disdainfully, what else can he do? He is just acting cool. Let's go and eat chicken. Let's see if little Ali is online or not. Little Ali is much more reliable than him. Hearing that his own woman was talking about little Ali again, Yi Hua's mood immediately became bad again. Being brought along to eat chicken by a child. That is because you all don't know, the moment I release my strength, even I will be afraid. And right now, I am only playing with the physique of an ordinary human. I feel disdain to go and cheat. Little Ali is definitely cheating. If it was my child, I would definitely smack his butt. You are still cheating when playing with humans, shame on you. Walking into the bar counter, under everyone's peculiar gaze, Yi Hua mixed a cup of pitch-black alcohol that looked like cola. Alright, in actuality it is just cola. The difference is that it has alcohol in it. Holding on to the special cola, Yi Hua sat on the empty seat at the side and sized up everyone. It was very obvious that these people were not ordinary people. Your Honor. Wei Chang walked over slowly. Call Lai Gu over, I have something to say. Yes. 5 seconds later, a handsome guy who was wearing a school uniform walked in from the door. His face was brimming with a strong sense of confidence, but after seeing Yi Hua, his confidence immediately turned into a smile. Your Honor, Lai Gu called out. Yi Hua sized up Lai Gu, then said with a frown, What have you been doing recently? Subordinate is following Your Honor's orders to experience human nature, and reading is also a very good way to experience human nature. Lai Gu said in a small voice. His confidence was a little lacking. Wei Chang added, Lai Gu only went to school to expand his harem. Gluttonous monster, that's where you're wrong. I'm in a serious relationship, okay? Wei Chang laughed lightly. Just a few days after entering school, you started fighting and snatching women as your father. I am having a headache. What do you mean? Yi Hua asked curiously. Wei Chang said, Your Honor, Lai Gu started fighting right after entering school. Doesn't that mean that we need to call his parents? Subordinate and Xiao Tang just so happened to be on a date, so Subordinate went to pretend to be Lai Gu's parents. Haha. Yi Hua laughed out loud. Lai Gu said angrily, I swear I will quit school tomorrow, it's boring. Yi Hua coughed lightly, it's up to you. However, what I want to say is that after a few days, everyone should go out and have a walk together. It has already been 5 years and we have yet to go out together. Thinking back to the past, Wei Chang and Lai Gu's expression changed. They knew that His Honor was thinking about the time in the past. Back then, the 8 of them had traveled all over the world, and the notoriety that they made shook the entire world. Back then, His Honor had been holed up in this small leisure bar for 5 years, and back then he didn't even leave the leisure bar at all. After Madam came, His Honor had left the leisure bar a lot more times, and right now he even had the thought of going out together with us. Your Honor? Your Honor? In actuality, both Wei Chang and Lai Gu understood that His Honor definitely missed the other 5 sins a lot. In actuality, it wasn't that His Honor didn't want to look for the other 5 sins, rather, he was afraid that His Honor would be disappointed if he found them. Yi Hua took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up. Recently there are a lot of people in Long'an City, and all of them are here for the sake of buying ancient godly items. On one hand, this trip is to relax, and on the other hand, this trip is also to take a look at what kind of thing an ancient godly item is. A hint of coldness appeared on Lai Gu's face. Your Honor, this time since they have gathered together, how about we take them all out at once? Wei Chang stretched out his hand and knocked on Lai Gu's head. Do you think that His Honor is still the same as before? Subordinate knows his mistake. Yi Hua picked up the wine cup and took a sip, then said faintly, rather than us taking them all out at once, we might as well let them kill each other. Your Honor is wise. Your Honor is wise. Wei Chang and Lai Gu thought of a problem at the same time. If His Honor had this kind of brain back then, how could he have possibly been exterminated? He would have long toyed with the humans in the palm of his hand. Bang! The sound of a wine bottle shattering suddenly rang out, and a burly man could be seen standing up and shouting out, Fuck, what kind of bullshit music is this? Give me an explosive one. Yi Hua silently looked towards that table, then stood up and said faintly, the 2 of you settle this, all of you are here to test the waters, don't be too ruthless. If you are too ruthless, you won't be able to play anymore in the future. Yes. Yes. Yi Hua unhurriedly walked towards the table. Just when he walked in he felt that something was amiss. Thinking back to what happened last night, I reckon that these people were sent by some humans to test the waters. Since that's the case, let's have some fun then. Rather than killing people, I might as well look at the other party's astonished gaze or look of disbelief. This was a kind of sublimation. Yi Hua's hands were already stained with the blood of countless humans, and killing people was no longer able to bring joy to his heart. Toying with the other party, then admiring the other party's astonished expression, that kind of feeling was able to cause a slight ripple to surface in Yi Hua's heart. No matter if it was Xiao Yi or Long Outyin, Yi Hua was waiting for them to grow. When they felt that they had the strength, only then would they realize that despair had just begun. Wei Chang and Lai Gu looked at His Honor's imposing back view and couldn't help but feel worship. His Honor is becoming more and more like a human. I believe that not long from now, His Honor will gather the 7 deadly sins and kill his way back. Toying with those conceited overlords in the palm of his hand, this feeling is much more satisfying than killing them. Gluttonous monster, how about we compete? Wei Chang laughed. What do you want to compete? Don't humans like to act cool? Let us compete and see who is better at acting cool. Lai Gu grinned, revealing his spotlessly white teeth. Sure, but do not disrupt His Honor's plan. If everyone is afraid of us, His Honor is going to stew you. Lai Gu scratched the back of his head. His Honor has said this sentence for a few hundred years, there is only thunder and no rain. Then, how about I help you pass on the message? I was just joking, look at you, you actually took it seriously, TSK tisk TSK. Leisure bar was a bit chaotic right now and some of the security guards went over to stop them. However, how could they be a match for the security guards? In an instant they were all knocked onto the ground. Those who are not important, scram out of here, if not, bear the consequences yourself. The burly man shouted out arrogantly. This shout of his was indeed effective. All of the ordinary people ran out of the bar, but there were still half of the people who didn't leave. The burly man didn't go and shout out, seems like he still had some idea of what was going on. But how can you be like this? This is leisure bar, right? If you want to go to the disco, go to another bar. Tang Wei could be seen suddenly rushing out, standing in front of the burly man and questioning him. The burly man was 2 meters tall, while Tang Wei was only 1.65 meters tall. The sharp contrast made others feel that Tang Wei was just like a little doll. Gluttonous monster, this girlfriend of yours has quite a personality. Lai Gu rubbed onto Wei Chang's shoulder and said with a smile. Wei Chang looked at his girlfriend and said with a smile, "And Xiao Tang indeed has quite a personality. Although she looks soft and weak on the surface, she has courage on the inside." "That girlfriend of yours is about to be bullied, why aren't you, as her boyfriend, doing anything?" Lai Gu asked curiously. Wei Chang looked at the beautiful figure on the stage and black light flickered within his eyes. Right now, Xiao Tang is no longer considered as a human. F***K gluttonous monster, you are so perverted. Aren't those 3 celebrities of yours the same? They were nourished by your dragon aura? Wei Chang teased. Lai Gu spread out his hands. What can I do? These are all side effects. I will just treat it as nurturing 3 subordinates who can fight and warm the bed. After all, His Honor is currently on vacation. That's true. When His Honor finishes his vacation, the bloody moment will arrive. Chapter 116. The burly man looked at Tang Wei who was in front of him and revealed an evil smile. He stretched out his dirty hand wanting to touch Tang Wei's face. That tender and pure white skin would definitely be very pleasurable to touch. The burly man's 3 friends revealed a playful smile. Taking liberties with beauties was something that they often did, especially this pure beauty. Just now, there were even 2 super beauties that went up, perhaps they could take liberties with her. However, this time they took liberties with the wrong person. If it was the previous Tang Wei, she would definitely be taken liberties with. However, the current Tang Wei was Wei Chang's girlfriend. Her status was rising up by sitting on a star-class aircraft carrier. Furthermore, her primordial spirit that was processed by Wei Chang was also injected into her body. Not mentioning anything else, Tang Wei's current strength was enough to exchange blows with Death Mage. Looking at those dirty big hands, Tang Wei used her hands to block them out of conditioned reflex, and it was even the kind where her eyes were closed. The entire place instantly became quiet. Even if a thin needle were to drop onto the ground, one would be able to hear it. Tang Wei closed her eyes. There was no disgusting touch coming from her face. She carefully opened her eyes and discovered that everyone was looking at her dumbfoundedly. Tang Wei immediately became muddle-headed. The burly man that was in front of her just now had already disappeared. Tang Wei was very puzzled. Could it be that he ran away? The burly man's other 3 friends came back to their senses, and one of them shouted out, "Brothers, attack!" Tang Wei's expression was panicked as she took a step back, but the 3 burly men were already closing in on her. Ah! Tang Wei let out an ear-piercing scream. All of the glass cups shattered. The expressions of the 3 burly men congealed, blood appeared on their ears. They were obviously injured, but they still attacked towards the weak Tang Wei. After screaming, Tang Wei closed her eyes and started punching and kicking, just like how a girl would punch the air when she saw a ghost. The entire place became quiet again, and some people started discussing in low voices. If I didn't see wrongly, could it be that those 4 burly men just now were the Jiangnan 4 marshals? It seems to be true. I heard that their strength is not bad. How did they get sent flying by a girl? This shop sure is mysterious. Could it be that this girl is the black-robed man that fought with Xiaoyi last night? Big brother, don't say any more. I'm scared. Lai Gu sighed. Gluttonous monster, you should at least teach your girlfriend some moves. This is too embarrassing. I feel that Tang Wei's fist technique was executed beautifully. Wei Chang smiled faintly and slowly walked forward. Coming to Tang Wei's side, Wei Chang patted the startled Tang Wei. Unexpectedly, Tang Wei threw a punch with a backhand, and Wei Chang easily caught it. "Little Tang, it's me. Uncle Wei." Tang Wei immediately pounced into Wei Chang's embrace. She was scared to death. The 4 handsome generals of Jiangnan expressed that they were the ones who were scared to death. "You murderer." Wei Chang lightly caressed Tang Wei's back. All right, don't be afraid." "Uncle Wei, was I very violent just now?" The people around him sucked in a cold breath. "Dare I ask, miss, if this isn't violence, then what is?" "He's been beaten into the wall by you and can't be pulled out. He's stuck." Wei Chang comforted him. "It's not violent at all. Go and take the waiters away. Let's get off work early today." "Oh, all right." Not long later, the security guards and waiters of the bar all left. Lai Gu leaned on the bar counter and looked at Wei Chang's performance. Wei Chang looked at the 20-odd people present and asked, "Are you all here to cause trouble?" Everyone remained silent. "Just now, you easily caught that girl's fist. Right now, who would dare to say that we are here to cause trouble?" Looking around, everyone was sitting perfectly straight. I reckon that when they were studying they didn't even sit so straight, so serious and so afraid. After all, these people were all small fries and the reason why they were sent here was just to probe. However, none of them wanted to be stuck inside the wall. Lai Gu shook his head helplessly. What is there to play? A bunch of grown men are just like elementary school students. Lai Gu shouted coldly, who asked you all to come? Let them come and get the girl. If not, don't even think about seeing tomorrow's sun. What if it rains tomorrow? Wei Chang turned his head around and asked. Lai Gu went into a daze. This is truly a problem. What do you think we should do? How about we just say that we shouldn't expect to see tomorrow's sun and rain? Wei Chang suggested. Lai Gu slightly frowned. Then what if tomorrow is cloudy? Everyone, then don't wait until tomorrow, it's too troublesome. How about 1 hour later? Wei Chang said. That's not a bad idea. The 20+ people who were sitting were all stupefied. Big brother, what are you all doing? We agreed to wait until tomorrow. Why did you all change your mind? Who cares if tomorrow is rainy or cloudy? We are people from Cloud Sect. We are people from Traceless Pavilion. You dare to try and touch us? We are people from Loud Thunder Sect. If you are sensible, then let us go. We are people from Dry Zen Sect. We want to go home. We are people from South Alliance. We forgot to turn off the gas in our house. If there is a fire, can you take responsibility? The people from Cloud Sect were very good at stirring up the atmosphere, and in an instant the atmosphere became heated up. If you don't let us go home, we will die in front of you. Wei Chang took a deep breath. You over there, where is your house? I will call the fire department for you. There is no need to worry. If you all want to go home, you all need your parents to come and get you. If not, you all will die. Wei Chang continued. Lai Gu placed both of his hands into his pockets and walked to the middle of the room, then said, if you all don't recognize me as your boss, I will teach you all how to comb your hair in the middle. After finished speaking, Lai Gu even touched his hair. His hairstyle mustn't be messed up. The 20+ people below were about to collapse. Just what kind of weirdo is this? His words are clearly so childish, yet he is leaking out a terrifying aura, causing those childish words to be more effective than any kind of threat. Too terrifying. Lai Gu shouted coldly, what are you all still in a daze for? Wait for me to treat you all to spicy hot pot. Call the fire department. Everyone didn't dare to be rash. Call the fire department right now, you all will regret it. In actuality, these 5 big powers were very powerful existences in the south. There was no need to talk about Cloud Sect. They were located at the periphery of Long and City in the cultivation world. The members of South Alliance were all people with special abilities. They were a power that couldn't be underestimated. Traceless Pavilion was located at the southwest. The parasitic insects that they raised were also ever-changing. The people in the circle of parasitic insects didn't dare to interact with them too much, fearing that they might accidentally be poisoned by the parasitic insects. Loud Thunder Sect belonged to the ancient martial arts sect. Their moves were superb, and their sect master was someone who could fight against Xiao Yi one-on-one. The prerequisite was that Xiao Yi didn't use Xianyuan sword. Dry Zen Sect also belonged to the cultivation world. Their strength wasn't that great, but they were experts in using medicine. Of course, this was only the strength of sects and sects. There were still powerful families in the south whose strength was comparable to Xiao family, just like Wang de Bao, just that they didn't come today. As for why they didn't come, perhaps they received the news of Lai Gu's arrival, and these 5 idiots came here to test the waters, and became the cannon fodder of Lai Gu. The call went through, but I still have to wait. Lai Gu is very bored at this time. I can already enjoy the service of a big celebrity on the bed. Gluttonous monster, do you want to play landlord? We are missing one. Wei Chang said. Lai Gu looked towards the 20+ people below. Play landlord over, I will let you go if you win. The people below first went into a daze for a moment, then began to fight with each other, almost starting a fight. Chapter 117. After a round of fighting, a hero from the Dry Zen sect won. This person was rather thin and weak, but to be able to win in front of so many people, it was clear that he had other strong points. Lai Gu arranged the seats properly, then Wei Chang took out the poker cards, then the 3 of them sat down. Wei Chang smiled and asked, what's your name? I'm Xiong Yong. Lai Gu laughed, your name doesn't match your physique at all. Xiong Yong rubbed his nose in embarrassment. I used to be very strong, but I've become skinny after refining medicine. Wei Chang began to shuffle the cards, and Lai Gu took out a comb and brushed it left and right, then took out a small mirror and looked at it. After he was satisfied, he kept the comb. You know how to play Fight the Landlord, right? Of course, of course. When I'm bored, I'll also spar with my disciples. Xiong Yong said with a silly smile. Wei Chang took out 3 bottles of beer, 1 for each of them. Xiong Yong was very touched. He didn't expect them to be so nice. They even had beer to drink, and it was even beer. After shuffling the cards, Wei Chang smiled and said, if you win, I will let you go. Thank you very much, thank you very much. Xiong was very happy. In the future I will not come to this leisure bar anymore, this is a den of bandits. Then what if we win? Lai Gu asked back, then opened the beer cap and drank a small mouthful. Burped. Xiong was shocked and didn't know how to reply. Lai Gu patted onto Xiong shoulder. How about this, if we win we will chop off one of your limbs, and if you win once you can leave. Xiong expression changed drastically. Even the people below couldn't help but take a step back. Too savage. It's easy to offend people like this. Xiong regretted coming out, but the arrow was already knocked on the bowstring and had to be released. Then you can't cheat. Lai Gu spread out his hands. Do we look like people who would cheat? Looking at Wei Chang and Lai Gu's sincere face, Xiong believed them. At the start of the first round, Xiong appeared to be very nervous. Even his hand that was grabbing the cards was trembling, and the 20+ people that were watching the game did not even dare to let out a sound. The 4 marshals of Jiangnan who were stuck in the wall simply pretended to be dead. You guys can't see me? Xiong picked up the flipped cards. This was the fate of the host, but he still had to look at the cards. Wei Chang and Lai Gu looked at their own cards and wrinkled their brows. On the other hand, Xiong looked at his own cards and revealed a smile. All the trump cards are in my hands, and there are also various kinds of big cards. Let's see how you are going to win. Next, Xiong started to perform. Lai Gu and Wei Chang refused all kinds of things, as if they had made up their mind to let Xiong go. 2. Lai Gu finally took out a card. King Bomb. Haha, I only have 1 card left. Thank you, big brothers, for helping me. Xiong finally heaved a sigh of relief. Even the heavens wanted to let him go. Wei Chang shouted in a deep voice, wait. Xiong was taken aback, and so were the audience. Was he going to go back on his word? Flush 2 King Red Bomb. Wei Chang played a pair of red 2s. Other than Lai Gu, everyone was stupefied. What kind of operation is this? Xiong gripped the 2 kings in his hands tightly. He was in a bad mood. He squeezed out a smile and said, Big brother, this is not good. Lai Gu drank a mouthful of wine. Just now I asked you if you know how to play landlord, and you said that you know how to play it. What, are you trying to go back on your words? Do you believe that I will chop you into pieces right now? Don't, I understand. Xiong could only hope that they had a single card in their hands and let him go. Wei Chang and Lai Gu were not fools. Knowing that you have a 2 in your hands, would you still put a single card in your hands? Without any suspense, Xiong lost the first round. Gluttonous monster, where did you put the knife? Oh, there is a fruit knife under the bar counter. Lai Gu took out the fruit knife and placed it on the table. Do you want to do it yourself, or do you want us to do it? Xiong gasped for breath. What should I do? I can't win against them. If I resist, I will die. If I lose an arm, at least I will have a chance to win again. Since I have already gambled, I can only continue. You guys go ahead. Xiong took out a medicinal pill and prepared to stop the bleeding. Lai Gu took the fruit knife and twirled it in a fancy manner. With a flash of silver light, Xiong's left arm fell onto the ground and blood sprayed out violently. Xiong was also a man. Without making a sound, he continuously tapped on his acupuncture points with his right hand and swallowed the medicinal pill. Then he took out a small bottle and sprinkled the powder onto the wound. Wei Chang thought that it was some kind of divine medicine, but it turned out to be Yunnan Baiyao. After doing all these, Xiong's pale face gradually became rosy. The 20+ people below revealed looks of fear. This is basically not letting him go, but rather, he wants to kill him 1 slash at a time, and he actually believed it. Next, it was Lai Gu's turn to shuffle the cards, and Xiong only grabbed the cards with 1 hand. Although it was a bit slow, Wei Chang and Lai Gu expressed that they understood. Xiong became the host again, and he had extremely good cards. Not only was it a king bomb, there was also a flush 2 king bombs. It was an existence that was even more awesome than a king bomb. Furthermore, it was a black flower. Even if they had a red flower, how could a red flower be as big as a black flower? The atmosphere in the hall was very strange, causing people to tremble with fear. Xiong felt that he would definitely win this game. He had 2 bombs and a 3. King bomb. Xiong shouted in a deep voice. His aura was extraordinary. Lai Gu took out a pair of 2s. Flush 2 king bomb. Flush 2 king bomb, black bomb. Xiong's face turned sinister. How satisfying is this? Now you guys have nothing to say, right? Wei Chang and Lai Gu did not make a sound. Seems like they approved of this method of playing. This made Xiong heave a sigh of relief. If I rush to the hospital now, I can still reattach my arm. A pair of 3s. Wei Chang threw out a pair of 3s. The hall fell into silence. What kind of *king place is this? Fight the landlord? It can even be played like this. Lai Gu heaved a sigh of relief. Luckily you have a pair of threes, I only have 1 3. Xiong broken arm began to bleed, his face became pale once again. Why can a pair of threes eat a pair of twos? If a pair of threes don't eat a pair of twos, then what do you eat? Lai Gu revealed a look of, you are an idiot. What a dig. Xiong actually had nothing to say. A silver light flashed, one of his legs landed on the ground, and Xiong immediately repeated his actions just now. However, this time his face did not turn red, instead, it became pale, even his lips became white. Under the table, a pool of blood had already flowed out, a faint smell of blood pervaded the air, causing people to involuntarily feel depressed. Let me shuffle the cards. Xiong said in a deep voice. Wei Chang generously passed the cards to Xiong, and Xiong shuffled the cards with one hand. Although it was slow, Wei Chang and Lai Gu did not rush him. What a pitiful person, he doesn't even know how to play the new version of Fight the Landlord, he is out. Back then, when his honor was bored, he would occasionally play Fight the Landlord, but his honor felt that it was too monotonous and needed to be flexible. In the end, Wei Chang and Lai Gu lost in all sorts of ways. Wei Chang almost lost all of his savings, and Lai Gu almost got stewed by his honor. The two swore that they would never play Fight the Landlord with his honor again. This round, Xiong was the landlord again. If it was possible, Xiong did not want to be the landlord. However, when he saw that he had a pair of threes, and a pair of threes, his confidence came back. King. Wei Chang and Lai Gu shook their heads, causing Xiong to be overjoyed. 2 of the same red. 2 of the same black. Right now, Xiong only had 3 cards in his hand and he shouted out, a pair of black threes. Lai Gu unhurriedly took out 2 cards, a pair of 4s. Xiong sprayed out a mouthful of blood, and the blood dyed the poker card red. Xiong's eyes were wide open and soon after he fell onto the ground. After twitching for a bit, he no longer had any reaction. Lai Gu took out a comb and parted his hair. Someone died playing Fight the Landlord. Wei Chang let out a sigh. He said that he knows how to play. Chapter 118. Lai Gu raised his head and drank a mouthful of beer, then shouted out, who else wants to come? Everyone revealed expressions of fear and huddled together. No one was willing to come out. Going up to play would be a fate worse than death. The 4 marshals of Jiangnan who were stuck on the wall were smart enough to play dead. Wei Chang asked, why don't we change it? Lai Gu remained silent for a while, then said, when playing mahjong, 2 are missing. If you win, then you can leave. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. If Fight the Landlord could be played like that, wouldn't mahjong be even more brutal? Seeing that no one came out, Wei Chang coldly shouted, is there no one who knows? Everyone was panic-stricken and shook their heads vigorously. Gluttonous monster. If it's simple, anyone can do it. Lai Gu, could it be that you were talking about that? Wei Chang's eyes lit up. Lai Gu revealed a mysterious smile. Wei Chang walked to the storeroom and quickly took out a big box. He smiled at everyone and said, happy aeroplane chess, do you want to know about it? Seeing that gentle smile, everyone knew that this was definitely not happy aeroplane chess. It was more like death aeroplane chess. It was rare for Wei Chang and Lai Gu to have the mood to play such an easy game. Anyone would be able to play it. Since you 2 are not willing to come out, then I will just choose 2 of you to come out. Once again, a horrifying scene played out in the living room. Meanwhile, the main characters upstairs were completely unable to hear what was happening. The 2 sisters were currently eating chicken with little Ali. When Yi Hua entered the living room and heard that little Ali was inside, he decisively chose to lie on the bed and play with his phone. Qingya smiled and did not say anything. This man just wants to keep his face no matter what. Looking at how he is sulking, I really want to pinch his face, he is too cute. Little Ali, is your mother not at home today? Qing Yutong asked curiously. Yes, many people came to look for mother today. Mother can't take care of Ali tonight. Ali's tender voice sounded from the headset. It was very pleasant to listen to. Qingya asked curiously, Little Ali, did your mother spank you yesterday? Why would mother hit Ali? She only made Ali kneel on the keyboard. It hurts, Ali said pitifully through the earpiece. When Qingya and Qing Yutong heard this, they immediately felt a wave of heartache. Their motherly love instantly overflowed, and they started criticizing Qingya. Auntie, I'm actually very tired. Ali can understand. Little Ali is so sensible. Qingya's heart was completely intoxicated. Just how old is this child? If my own child is this sensible, that would simply be too great. Qing Yutong said tenderly, Ali, if there's a chance, Aunt will treat you to McDonald's. McDonald's? What is it? Qing Yutong went into a daze. Ali, could it be that you have never eaten McDonald's before? Can McDonald's be eaten? The name sounds so weird. Qingya asked, Little Ali, where do you live? I also don't know where this place is, Ali said in confusion. If not for Ali being so sensible, Qingya and Qing Yutong would have thought that little Ali was kidnapped. What does the surroundings look like? Qing Yutong asked. And, there are clouds, there are waterfalls, there are palaces, there are also mountains, there are also people, however none of them are playing with Ali and all of them are afraid of Ali. What the hell was this place? The two sisters were dumbfounded. Could it be that little Ali was teasing them? Then why are they afraid of Ali? Ali is so cute. Qingya asked. Ali doesn't know either, perhaps, it is because of mother. Right now, Qingya and Qing Yutong were the ones who behaved like children, and their faces were filled with curiosity. Is Ali's mother very powerful? Qing Yutong asked. Speaking of her mother, Ali's tone was filled with pride. Of course, not only is Ali's mother beautiful, she is also very, very, very powerful. Qingya and Qing Yutong both smiled. Children were naturally biased towards their mother. But Ali can only see mother once at night. Mother doesn't have time to take care of Ali during the day, and doesn't even allow Ali to go out and play. Ali really wants to go out and take a look at the outside world. And is the outside world fun? Qing Yutong immediately began bragging, saying all kinds of delicious food and fun things to entice Ali. And after listening to Qing Yutong's description, Ali wanted to go out and take a look at the outside world even more. Qingya glared at her little sister. Ali, don't listen to her, you have to listen to mother, understand? And, Ali understands. Where did uncle go today? Qingya smiled. Ali is too powerful, uncle doesn't even dare to play with Ali anymore. Yihua immediately wrinkled his brows as he stared at Qingya. Try saying it again, I will slap your butt until it becomes swollen. So it's like this. Then Ali, you don't have to be so powerful and let uncle perform. Yihua naturally heard what Qingya said. Do I need a little child to perform for me? What a joke. Ali, uncle still doesn't dare to come. Qingya smiled lightly. Yihua snorted coldly. Who said that I don't dare to come? And is uncle coming? Ali asked curiously. And uncle is coming, we can play as a team. That's great, Ali likes to play with uncle. Yihua's expression sunk. I don't like to play with a brat like you. In the following period of time, little Ali was going to bring Yihua to eat chicken again. The fight upstairs was very intense, and the situation downstairs was the same as well. The smell of blood in the air was very dense, and the white dice were already dyed red by blood. Severed limbs were all around the dice and the scene was too horrible to look at. The two men were only left with their bodies in a hand, and the two men were holding on to their last breath. Such a terrifying scene would cause a person's spirit to collapse. They weren't afraid of death, but after seeing such a way of death, only then did they know what it meant by living a life worse than death. Wei Chang and Lai Gu were drinking beer and playing games while waiting for the backstage to arrive. Wei Chang and Lai Gu didn't have the slightest bit of pity in their hearts. If I had known that this would happen, I wouldn't have done what I did back then. To dare to come to his honor's territory to test the waters, it is already not bad for me to have an intact corpse. Suddenly, the sound of brakes and hurried footsteps rang out from outside of the door. Everyone was overjoyed, someone is finally here to save us. Cloud Sect's elder, Xing Kai has arrived. South Alliance's elder, Gao Shuang has arrived. Dry Zen Sect's elder, Yuing Guang has arrived. Strong Lightning Sect's elder, Wen Rui has arrived. Traceless Pavilion's elder, Tu Rong has arrived. The disciples of various sects could be seen walking in first and shouting out the name of their sect's elder loudly. However, when they saw the situation at the scene, their chests were heaving up and down. Ugh! Even the brows of the elders who walked in right after them were tightly knitted together. The other party is simply too savage, inhumane, and his methods are so cruel that it makes one's hair stand on end. Furthermore, the other party is completely not putting us and the others in his eyes at all. A small leisure bar dares to be so arrogant. However, when they thought about what happened last night, the elders' anger stopped for a moment. The reason why they sent people here today was to probe the other party. From the looks of it, that black robe from last night is most likely those two people. Even Xiao Yi only had a Pyrrhic victory, so how can the five of us be a match for the other party? Let the sect head come over and fight, but the sect head has an important matter to deal with right now, so how can he have the time to deal with such a small matter? Chapter 119. Elder, save me. I want to go home. One of the people who was currently playing happy aeroplane chess was slowly crawling, leaving behind a long trail of blood behind him. However, before he could even crawl to the front of his elder, he already stopped breathing, and the other person was also the same. The 5 elders were furious. How many years had it been? No one dared to kill their disciples in front of them. Even Xiao Yi only dared to teach them a lesson and didn't dare to kill them. But looking at the scene, there were 3 corpses and not a single one was complete. Could be seen how cruel it was. There were also the 20 female disciples, some of whom were scared out of their wits. Could be seen how terrifying the scene just now was. Wei Chang and Lai Gu discussed in a low voice. Lai Gu, should we get rid of them and attract even bigger ones? Right now, Wei Chang had learned how to think and he carried out his honor's thoughts. What his honor wants isn't to get rid of them. If we were to get rid of all of them, what would be the point? Is that so? Didn't we kill them all before? Can the past be compared to the present? We are people, killing people is wrong, we will have to go to jail. Wei Chang shouted in a low voice. Lai Gu looked at the 3 corpses on the ground and silently nodded his head. I feel that what Lai Gu said is very reasonable. Why did the 2 of you kill my disciple? Yu Yingguang, the elder of the Dry Zen sect, shouted. Lai Gu gulped down the beer in his hand, then stood out and said, Burp, why? Old man, your people ran into my territory and behaved atrociously. It's already good enough that I only killed 3 of them. Besides, they died waiting for you. Yu Yingguang's expression changed. Waiting for us? Of course, what do you think? Lai Gu took out the comb once again and brushed left and right. That strange smile of his caused people's hearts to turn cold, and that strange split in the middle caused people to tremble with fear. Gao Shuang of the Southern Alliance said in a deep voice, What are you trying to do? Wei Chang slowly walked out. Actually, I don't want to do anything. I just want to warn everyone that this is a bar, not a bar. Traceless Pavilion's elder Tu Rong asked faintly, We have received your warning. Can we leave now? It's not good to leave just like that, right? Lai Gu said with a smile. Elder Wen Rue of the Rising Thunder sect shouted coldly, What do you want? Don't think that we're afraid of you. Lai Gu spread out his hands and said slowly, I will give you all a chance to take revenge. Everyone was shocked. What were these 2 people trying to do? Are they crazy? Or were they overly confident in their own strength? Wei Chang smiled and said, Those who come are guests, take out your abilities. You can choose between the 2 of us, no matter what the result is, you can take your people away. The hearts of the disciples were startled. Elder, please don't agree. They are too shameless. They have no bottom line. But if they wanted to leave, they still had to rely on the elders. The subordinates didn't say anything. I'll go first. Dry Zen sect's elder Yu Yingguang stepped forward. The other 4 elders heaved a sigh of relief. Yu Yingguang's strength was not much, but he was an expert in using poisons. It seemed that the 2 of them had overestimated themselves. It was a good opportunity to test their strength. With a smile on his face, Wei Chang and Lai Gu allowed the other party to choose. Yu Yingguang pointed at Lai Gu and shouted. Lai Gu patted onto Wei Chang's shoulder. Gluttonous monster, I'll go up first. Wei Chang shook his head. Old man, how do you want to play? You set the question. Lai Gu tidied up his hair and asked indifferently. Yu Yingguang's expression was stern. My Dry Zen sect mainly focuses on concocting medicine. I have some achievements in concocting medicine. Today, I will compete with you in medicinal properties. Interesting, sure. Lai Gu was very interested. Competing with landlord is more fun. Yu Yingguang said gravely, I will give you a poison, swallow it, but you only have 1 hour to concoct the antidote. Otherwise, your entire body will fester and you will die. Lai Gu understood. In that case, I can give you a poison too? Precisely. Yu Yingguang said indifferently. He was very confident. A yellow-haired brat actually dares to gamble with me, he really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. This was also why Yu Yingguang would choose Lai Gu. Children seem to be easy to deceive. Yu Yingguang could be seen taking out an exquisite small box from his sleeve, then said with a proud look on his face, This pill is called 16 soul dispersing pill, it is colorless and odorless. The person who consumes it will be safe and sound for 1 hour, but after 1 hour, the person will bleed from his 7 apertures, fester will appear all over his body and soon after, his soul will scatter. Everyone took in a breath of cold air. What cultivators pay particular attention to is the soul. If the soul is gone, it means that the person will be gone in their next life. This pill is too vicious. This pill has been concocted by me for 49 days, and the medicinal ingredients required for it have even been a year. To be honest, even I don't know how to concoct the antidote. Yu Yingguang added. The other 4 elders frowned. What is this Yu Yingguang trying to say? Could it be that he doesn't want to kill the other party? Of course Yu Yingguang wanted to, but as a pharmacist he wanted to see other people tremble in front of the pill that he concocted even more. That kind of satisfaction was even more satisfying than killing someone. Lai Gu smiled, then stretched his hand into his clothes, seemingly to be poking something. Everyone was a little stupefied. After poking for around a minute, Lai Gu took out a black pill, then coughed lightly and said, "This pill is concocted by me. Although the time taken is not long, the effect is not bad. I even gave it a name. I want it every day. As for the medicinal ingredients, it is very hard to find. After consuming it for 1 minute it will take effect. After consuming it for 1 hour, if the medicinal effect is not neutralized, the person's body will explode and he will die." Yu Yingguang smiled in disdain. "I am just exaggerating, there is no medicine in the world that I cannot neutralize. However, looking at the black pill in Lai Gu's hand, why do I feel that it is so disgusting? How can I not be disgusted?" Lai Gu had poked his armpit for 1 minute just now, and after much difficulty he finally managed to poke such a big one. This king's black pill is very effective after consuming it. If you don't believe me, you can give it a try. I guarantee that it will take effect in 1 minute. Both parties could be seen exchanging pills. Lai Gu opened the small box and the pill inside was golden in color. It looked very appetizing. Without even thinking, Lai Gu stuffed it into his mouth and even chewed for a while. "Hee, is there a minty taste? I just added a little bit of it." Yu Yingguang smiled faintly, then ate Lai Gu's pill in 1 gulp and tasted it attentively. However, after chewing it, why is there a stinky smell? What kind of medicinal ingredient would have such a smell? Lai Gu smiled and said, "Do you feel that there is a strange smell? That is because I added my own body odor." Everyone, Yu Yingguang stretched out his long and thin finger and felt a little nauseous. Lai Gu opened a bottle of beer and waited nonchalantly. "Are you not planning to save yourself?" Yu Yingguang drank a mouthful of water and said coldly, "No hurry, I want to see how you are going to save yourself." Chapter 120. Yu Yingguang could be seen eating a pill, then sat cross-legged on the ground and circulated his energy to quickly digest the pill. After a while, Yu Yingguang stood up and said with a smile, "It's done." "Is it really done?" Lai Gu drank a mouthful of wine and looked at Yu Yingguang's crotch. Everyone couldn't help but look over and were immediately startled. "I didn't expect this old man to be so muscular." Yu Yingguang turned pale with fright. "I actually didn't feel it." Suddenly, the heat that disappeared just now came back again. Yu Yingguang's entire body turned red, and he didn't dare to be careless. He continuously ate a few pills and sat in meditation to digest the energy. However, not only was it useless, his entire body seemed like it was going to explode, and it seemed like it was going to swell up. Why is it like this? Why is it like this? What exactly is this medicine? Yu Yingguang felt like he was going to explode as he asked angrily. Lai Gu said leisurely, "Didn't you say it yourself just now? It's an aphrodisiac." The 4 elders were startled. They didn't expect the medicine's effects to be so outstanding, to actually make an old man who was over 90 years old look like a young man. This is too mystical. You are shameless. Don't be shameless, the antidote is over there. Lai Gu pointed to the few women who were huddled at the corner of the wall. They were all scared to death just now. Yu Yingguang was a decent person. Why would he do such a thing? Losing his integrity in old age is not a good thing. "Where is the toilet?" Yu Yingguang couldn't bear it anymore and asked gravely. Wei Chang pointed to the passage at the side. "Turn left inside." Yu Yingguang flashed and he was already at the toilet. Everyone could even hear the sound of the door closing. The other elders frowned and turned their heads. Vulgar. Vulgar. But is the medicine's effects really that good? Returning to the time when I was young. Not long later, Yu Yingguang walked out of the toilet with a comfortable expression. His withered face still had a bit of redness, as if he had been cured of a chronic illness. The other elders revealed a bit of envy. At this age they no longer had any interest. However, when they saw Yu Yingguang's expression, they couldn't help but recall the time when they were young, but the vigor back then was gone forever. "Yo, old man is pretty fast, huh?" Yu Yingguang furrowed his brows. "What do you mean by very fast?" It had clearly been 3 minutes, but it sounded like it was settled in an instant. "You want to embarrass this old man with a mere aphrodisiac? You overestimate yourself." Yu Yingguang stretched out his right hand and stroked his beard. The disciples couldn't help but feel disgusted. Lai Gu laughed lightly and said, Old man, you are also looking down on me too much. Every day I want pellets. Just when Lai Gu finished speaking, Yu Yinguang felt a sensation coming from a certain place again, and his expression turned into shock. How did you refine this medicine? What? If you want to sell it, I won't tell you. Yu Yinguang gasped for air. The effects of the drug were taking effect too quickly. He still had to go in and settle this. 3 minutes later, Yu Yinguang walked out slowly. His expression wasn't very comfortable, but he didn't stop for long before running back in. 2 minutes later, Yu Yinguang walked out slowly. His right hand was trembling and his breathing was rapid. Before he reached the door, he ran back in. A minute and a half later, Yu Yinguang held onto the wall and slowly walked out. His face was still flushed and his legs were trembling. However, he ran back in. 1 minute later, Yu Yinguang more or less crawled out. This is simply torture. If this goes on, I will explode and die. Antidote. I want the antidote. Yu Yinguang stretched out his skinny right hand, and there was actually a sparkling and translucent thing on his right hand. Everyone couldn't help but feel nauseous. The remaining 20 disciples knew that it would be like this. Elder, why are you so honest? These two are big liars. Yu Yinguang felt as if his chest was burning. Because the fire in his chest did not pour out, his body gradually swelled up again. Not long later, Yu Yinguang, who was skinny just a moment ago, became like a 100 kilograms fatty. This kind of change made everyone shocked. What new style of landlord? What happy airplane chess? This is what is called real torture. Living is worse than death. Lai Gu sighed. Old man, I have already said, isn't the antidote right there? You just had to use your hands, why bother? Everyone looked towards the few crazy women who were hiding at the corner of the wall, then looked towards Yu Yinguang, who was continuously swollen. Just what is this place? Why is it so gloomy and scary? These two demons. Yu Yinguang naturally knew, but as long as I do this kind of lowly thing, I won't be able to keep my chastity. If this matter were to spread out, how would I have any face left? Also, just what kind of bullshit aphrodisiac is this, to actually be able to maintain a calm mind and allow me to think like a normal person? If it was that kind of aphrodisiac that disregards everything, I wouldn't be thinking so much. But if I lose my life, what's the use of my face? Yu Yinguang turned his head around and looked towards the woman who was hiding at the corner of the wall and shivering, then rushed over regardless of everything. Because of the lighting, the corner of the wall was rather dim, making it hard to see what was going on, but everyone was able to hear the beautiful melody very clearly. This old man is rather dissolute. Lai Gu laughed. The expressions of the elders became solemn. That Yu Yinguang is too shameless to actually openly do something improper. Do you not even want that old face of yours anymore? After quite a while, Cloud Sect's elder Xing Tian felt that it was about time. No matter how strong the medicinal effect was, it should have been neutralized by now. Yu Yinguang, who was currently neutralizing the poison, immediately fainted onto the ground. Lai Gu was very unhappy and asked gravely, "What are you doing? The old man is neutralizing the poison." "It's about time," Xing Tian said coldly. That kind of lingering voice made one feel nauseous just by listening to it. "Alright, in actuality it's just jealousy." "What do you mean by about time? You just don't understand me. I ask for pills every single day." Originally the old man was neutralizing the poison and yet you interrupted him. Lai Gu sighed, seemingly feeling that it was a pity. Wei Chang said calmly, "You murderer." Xing Tian opened his eyes wide. "I have never seen such a shameless person before, to actually say that I am a murderer." Lai Gu said, "Everyone saw it just now. I kindly pointed out the right path for Skinny Bone, yet he interrupted me to save him. If he isn't a murderer, then what is he?" "A bunch of nonsense," Xing Tian shouted out angrily. Traceless Pavilion's Elder Tu Rong said, "Elder Xing, you are indeed in the wrong for this matter." Elder Xing, although Elder Yu's behavior was improper, he did it for the sake of his life. Why did you interrupt him? South Alliance's Gao Shuang said. "That's right, since Elder Yu did it, I'm sure that he should be clear of the consequences." "Elder Xing, aren't you cutting off his life?" Violent Thunder Sect's Elder Wen Rui said lightly. Xing Tian's eyes widened. "I didn't expect that at this crucial moment, they would actually hit me when I am down. Thinking about it, it makes sense. This time my sect discovered a treasure, yet I secretly excavated it. It would be weird if they didn't hate me, and what I did just now just happened to give them something to use against me." Wei Chang and Lai Gu weren't very clear about the pros and cons of what his honor did, and they only felt that the internal strife between them was very interesting. Chapter 121. Along with what Lai Gu said, Xing Tian's expression became extremely ugly. He actually asked me to go and help him. Why should I help him? Help him send the gay flying. Elder Xing, if you don't help him, your crime of murder will be confirmed. You'll have to go to jail. Every single word of Lai Gu's teasing caused Xing Tian to burn with rage, and he wished that he could eat this high school student in front of him alive. Just as everyone was talking, the unconscious Yu Yingguang swelled up once more. The speed was so fast that it left everyone speechless. Every now and then he was like a rubber ball. It's too late. Lai Gu sighed. Bang. An explosion suddenly rang out. Those crazy women did not know what had happened. They were still laughing foolishly, but their bodies were covered in blood. TSK, you are just watching someone die and not helping them. That little brothers from Dry Zen sect can leave now. Lai Gu waved his hand, and in the end, not a single person left. We can leave now, sit down and wait for supper. Lai Gu urged. One of them whispered, there are a total of 4 people from the Dry Zen sect, 3 men and 1 woman. Lai Gu went into a daze. This is too miserable. Say, why do you all have to go through the trouble of doing this? This is his honor's territory, and you all even dare to come over to probe. All right. Take that woman away. A few men walked into the corner of the wall and pulled out one of the crazy women. Then they let her out. Exaggerated laughter immediately rang out from outside. Not long after, an ear-piercing screech of brakes could be heard. Lai Gu let out a long sigh. A young lady in the prime of her youth is gone just like that. It's all your boss's fault for recklessly giving out orders and even to the point of not saving her, sigh. In actuality, the 2 of them didn't intend to kill anyone. What they needed was to shock and awe. Just now, Lai Gu had already revealed the answer. However, Skinny Gu was killed by someone else. He was really innocent. I'll do it. Xing Tian shouted in a deep voice. Lai Gu's interest was piqued again as he said, me or him? Xing Tian pointed at Lai Gu and shouted. At least you have good eyesight, what are we competing in? Lai Gu raised his eyebrows towards Wei Chang. You can just go and play at one side, all of them like handsome guys. Let's compete in swords. Compete in being despicable? Lai Gu immediately became stupefied. Even being despicable can be competed? It's a sword duel. It wasn't a competition of despicableness. Such a sword. Xing Tian took out his sword and accidentally blurted it out. His face turned slightly red. Lai Gu suddenly came to a realization. Oh, it's a sword competition, I thought that you were very cheap. Little fool, I'll let you see this elder's prowess in a while. Xing Tian snorted coldly. Lai Gu pouted his mouth, then turned his head around and asked, gluttonous monster, where is my 11 meters long broadsword? No, where is my broadsword? Wei Chang smiled, I'll help you get it. Wei Chang walked into the storage room at the back, and not long after, the sound of metal rubbing against the ground could be heard. When Wei Chang appeared dragging the 11-meter pig slaughtering knife, everyone was dumbfounded. Compared to the sword in Xing Tian's hand, this was a huge object, and that knife was as small as a needle. Lai Gu took over the huge pig slaughtering knife, and a hint of cold light could be seen on the blade of the knife. How do you want to compete? Xing Tian's brows were solemn. He suddenly remembered that today's mission wasn't to fight with them, but to bring them away. He couldn't complicate the issue. He could just let it go, but he couldn't be like the elder of the Dry Zen sect. Let's fight each other once. Xing Tian said in a deep voice. A hint of blood could be seen on Lai Gu's gaze. All right. You chop me first, then I'll chop you. Everyone took in a breath of cold air. That embroidery needle of yours won't be able to stab someone to death? Look at the other party's 11 meters long broadsword. If it were to stab down, the depth of the broadsword would be unfathomable. No, it's a fight between weapons. Xing Tian hurriedly explained. The excitement that Lai Gu felt just a moment ago immediately disappeared. Boring. Xing Tian laughed dryly. Why do I feel so embarrassed? Xing Tian could be seen shouting out lightly, and the sword in his hand rang out. Everyone couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. Cloud Sect swordsmanship is indeed formidable. Lai Gu let out a yawn and raised the pig slaughtering knife in his hand. There was no sword cry, only cold light could be seen. Be gentler, don't disturb his honor. Wei Chang reminded in a low voice. Lai Gu wrinkled his brows. He was controlling his strength, but in the eyes of others, they would think that Lai Gu was afraid. Bang! The 2 weapons came into contact with each other, and the floor beneath their feet instantly cracked. Lai Gu heaved a sigh of relief. I controlled my strength just right, and Wei Chang was also afraid that Lai Gu would disturb his honor. Xing Tian gasped for breath. I didn't expect that the other party would actually be so strong. All right, let's go. Let's go, boring. Lai Gu waved his hand. I still feel that Skinny Gu is interesting, it's a pity that he died. Xing Tian led the 5 sect disciples and walked out of the bar. Finally he couldn't bear it anymore and his blood flowed out violently. That slash from the other party just now caused my vitality to be greatly injured. This is too terrifying. Elder. Quickly return to the sect. Right now, Xing Tian had to immediately return to the sect and seek help from the sect leader, if not, he would definitely vomit blood and die. Within Leisure Bar there were still 3 elders left, and all of them were calculating. The other party's strength is very strong, and Xing Tian's acting just now is indeed not bad, but that expression on his face was unable to be concealed. He definitely suffered from internal injuries. What should we do? I'll do it. Traceless Pavilion's elder Tu Rong walked out with a look that seemed as if he was facing death calmly. You want me to choose him? Lai Gu asked excitedly. Him? Tu Rong pointed at Wei Chang and said. Lai Gu let out a sigh. You actually chose a pervert, congratulations. The corner of Tu Rong's mouth twitched. This security guard's smile is so warm, he should be a bit better than this high school student, right? Suddenly, a sound rang out from the staircase and Wei Chang and Lai Gu's expression sunk. Did we disturb his honor? Everyone noticed that Wei Chang and Lai Gu's expression actually revealed nervousness. Everyone looked towards the staircase and the first thing that was revealed was a pair of calves. What a well-proportioned calves, followed by a pair of long legs. My God. Isn't this one of the twins that walked up just now? The hell, are you two holding a bloody party? This is a bit interesting. Qing Yutong still hasn't removed her makeup yet, didn't she just die? Thus, I might as well take a bag of spicy gluten and go up. Lai Gu didn't even know how to address his honor's sister-in-law, thus I might as well just call her ordinary. Subordinate saw that Leisure Bar was too cold and cheerless, so I invited some extras over to act as a prop. Lai Gu said while stammering. Everyone turned pale with fright. Subordinate? These 2 perverts are that woman's subordinates. I didn't expect this. Their boss is actually a woman. If that's the case, doesn't that woman's strength is even more terrifying? Qing Yutong sized up Lai Gu, then took a look at Wei Chang, then took a look at the aeroplane chest on the ground as well as that severed arm. Picking up the spicy bar, Qing Yutong pouted her mouth. It's almost 12 o'clock, it should be more or less done. Subordinate understands. Lai Gu smiled. After Qing Yutong walked up to the staircase, Wei Chang and Lai Gu heaved a sigh of relief. Luckily it isn't his honor. Speak, what are we competing in? Wei Chang urged. Everyone didn't even dare to breathe loudly. That woman actually didn't even frown in the slightest, it could be seen that she is a cold-blooded person. Chapter 122. Within the bottle, there was a red little bug that looked like a little ladybug. It would occasionally fly around a few times and it looked rather cute. Lai Gu opened another bottle of beer and felt sorrowful for this old fellow. Gluttonous monsters don't lack bugs at all. His original body was a monster, and the parasites on his body made people feel numb. Luckily he had turned into a human now. Wei Chang smiled, then stretched his hand into his crotch and immediately took something out. A huge black bug could be seen appearing on Wei Chang's palm. It had countless tentacles. If one did not look carefully, one would think that it was hair. And those legs of the bug were just like those of a centipede, causing people's entire body to feel numb. Lai Gu turned his face away. That bug is too disgusting. Everyone let out faint vomiting sounds. Such a huge bug, how did you take it out from your crotch? Or could it be that you have been raising such a huge bug in your crotch? Wei Chang stretched out his hand and played with the black bug on his palm, and those countless tentacles actually wrapped around Wei Chang's fingers. This is a digestive bug. After eating it, it will absorb your nutrients and grow stronger, and in the end, become the main body and replace you. Wei Chang explained with a smile, but everyone was sweating profusely. Especially Tu Rong. How am I supposed to swallow such a huge black bug? Just looking at it makes me feel disgusted. In comparison, my fierce Gu is much cuter. Upon thinking of Yu Yingguang's ending, Tu Rong sweated profusely. I have to think of a way. That's right. A faint smile appeared on Tu Rong's face as he kept his fierce Gu and said, You misunderstood just now. I was just showing you my Traceless Pavilion's Gu. I didn't mean anything else. Traceless Pavilion's disciple praised the elder for being smart. If you eat such a huge bug, you might even have the heart to die. The other 2 elders revealed a look of disdain. Wei Chang expressed that he didn't mind and stuffed the black bug into his crotch. Seeing this action, Everyone took in a breath of cold air. Then what do you want to play? Recently, I have done some research on rock paper scissors. How about we play a round? Lai Gu was stupefied. Wei Chang was stupefied. Everyone was stupefied. 1 minute later, Tu Rong happily left with his disciple. Those few idiots are so stupid. Look at me, I won against them so easily and left without any injuries. One must use their brains. Yuingguang soul cursed, you are fucking shameless. Elder Wen Rue of the Mighty Thunder sect took a step forward with an extraordinary aura. He shouted in a deep voice, allow me. Compete in what? Wei Chang was a little unhappy. Rock, paper, scissors actually lost. Cunning humans. Wen Rue said in a deep voice, this elder can drink a bottle of beer in one go. Lai Gu, who was currently drinking wine, immediately spurted out his wine. Wei Chang's expression became even worse. The disciples of the Mighty Thunder sect looked at the elder in admiration. Elder Wen was too quick-witted, a role model for them. Without any mishaps, Wen Rue drank a bottle of free beer in one go and retreated with his disciples. When he walked out, he even sighed. The first two were simply idiots. You need to know how to outsmart them. Only the Southern Alliance's elder Gao Shuang was left in the leisure bar. The disciples of the Southern Alliance looked at their elder and thought in their hearts, one is rock paper scissors, the other is drinking wine, why don't the elder follow suit? Gao Shuang coldly snorted. There was no need for her to imitate him. What do you want to play? Wei Chang was very unhappy. This cunning human. Gao Shuang said in disdain, the requests of the first two are too unpresentable, this elder doesn't want to be associated with them. The disciples of the Southern Alliance worship the elder even more. Elder Gao is too brave, not panicking in the face of danger. He can be said to be a role model. This elder has recently gained quite a bit of experience in playing landlord. Why don't the two of you play? Gao Shuang said with a mysterious confidence. Wei Chang and Lai Gu were startled at first, but soon after they revealed a gentle smile. Wei Chang even personally moved the chairs, and Lai Gu even opened a bottle of red wine to entertain them. Gao Shuang didn't expect that there would be such treatment. This leisure bar isn't that scary after all. The disciples of the Southern Alliance cried. Elder Gao, why are you courting death? Just play a rock-paper-scissors game. We can't even play their landlord. Half an hour later. Wei Chang and Lai Gu held onto a mop and mopped the floor. Lai Gu sighed, an elder is indeed an elder to be able to hold on for so long. Can you be called an elder if you don't have some strength? Wei Chang wiped the bloody table and said with a smile. This landlord is too interesting. I'm going back to play with the women. I will leave this place to you. After finished speaking, Lai Gu ran away. Wei Chang laughed bitterly and continued to wipe the table. Uncle Wei. A gentle voice rang out, and Tang Wei could be seen slowly walking out from the room at the back. Wei Chang went into a daze for a moment, then looked at the woman in front of him and asked, are you afraid of Uncle Wei? Tang Wei lightly hugged onto Wei Chang's waist and leaned her head onto Wei Chang's chest. A hint of black light flashed past her beautiful eyes. I'm not afraid. Wei Chang laughed. Clean up well, Uncle Wei will send you home. Uncle Wei, did you forget that the light in my house is broken? Tang Wei said shyly. That's right, Uncle Wei will help you change it. Wei Chang smiled and patted onto Tang Wei's head. Go and dig out those 4 people from the wall and throw them out. Oh. Tang Wei was currently gloomy. The 4 handsome generals of Jiangnan are going to be bullied by Little Punch again. Yi Hua, who was upstairs, did not know what was happening downstairs, but Qin Yutong knew about it. Observing her brother-in-law, he is really becoming more and more mysterious. After eating chicken for the entire night, Yi Hua expressed that he was not happy, because it had nothing to do with him at all. This little guy said that he wouldn't steal the limelight, but in the end he was a little swindler, stealing all of the limelight. Uncle, I'm sorry, Ali stole your limelight again. Yi Hua seemed to have already gotten used to it as he placed down his earphones. Go to sleep. I will play one more round. Qinya muttered, but to her surprise, Yi Hua directly carried Qinya up. Qin Yutong said disconsolately, can you two not show off your affection in front of me? Yi Hua, what are you doing? Put me down. Qinya's little fists hammered onto Yi Hua powerlessly, and her face was slightly red. Is it possible for me to put her down? It's definitely impossible. Ali, you should sleep early too. Be careful that your mother will spank your butt. Qin Yutong said. Mother might still be discussing matters. Ali can still play one last round. Alright, one last round. And one last round, Ali will go to sleep. Yi Hua expressed that this was the never-ending last round. Go and take a bath. After placing Qinya down, Yi Hua said faintly. Qinya snorted, then sat on the bedside. Not going. There is a smell of smoke. Isn't it because of the smoke that you smoked? Do you want me to help you take a bath? Yihua wrinkled his brows and said gravely. Qinya pouted her mouth, then glared at Yihua, then walked into the bathroom. After Qinya finished taking a bath, Yihua also took a bath, then lied on the bed. Chapter 123. Just like how she is right now, quietly leaning on my side, not making any noise, it feels really comfortable. That smooth and beautiful hair of hers is especially comfortable to touch, and those lips taste very sweet. I have to find an excuse to kiss them. If I were to take the initiative, I would seem to lose a lot of face, and this foolish woman would also not take the initiative. This is troublesome. What are you thinking about? Qinya leaned on Yihua's chest and asked tenderly. Yihua said faintly, nothing. Accompany me to the hospital to do a checkup tomorrow. Qinya said calmly. Yihua wrinkled his brows. What checkup? Of course it's the child. How are you a father, don't you understand? Qinya stretched out her small fist and punched onto Yihua's chest. Yihua was very clear about the child's condition. There is no need for him to go to the hospital to do a checkup. The child is fine, there is no need to go to the hospital. I know that you are a cultivator, but I am still worried. Qinya's tone became weak. After being in contact with Dong Huangli for the past 2 days, she looked forward to the birth of her child even more. She wanted to ensure that everything would go smoothly. What? You don't believe me? It's not that I don't believe you, I just want to be sure. Qinya rubbed onto her flat stomach, and a trace of a smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. In a few more months my stomach will be big, right? Yihua remained silent. After all, Qinya is only a human, and she naturally believes in modern medicine. Fine, I'll just do it, it's good for her to be at ease. Yihua, before my stomach gets big, let's go take a wedding photo. Qinya said tenderly. After all, every girl dreams of the day they wear a wedding dress, and Qinya was no exception. Yihua said faintly, what's there to take a photo of, boring? Can you be a bit more serious? It's fine if we don't have a wedding, but we should at least have a set of wedding photos, right? Qinya became angry. Do you really not want to take a wedding photo with me that much? Yihua remained silent. However, in Qinya's eyes, this was a disguised form of rejection. Qinya could be seen sitting up and asking coldly, Yihua, let me ask you, are you still treating me as a tool to give birth to a child? Yes. Yihua replied coldly. However, this reply made Yihua a bit annoyed. Qinya's beautiful eyes immediately turned red. I didn't expect that he would still be the same as when we first met. I thought that after being in contact with him for this period of time, he would change. I am truly foolish. After a long time, Qinya said faintly, after the child is born, let's divorce. After she finished speaking, she leaned to the side. The gentle moonlight shone on her beautiful face, which was covered with tear stains. When Yihua heard the word divorce, he became even angrier and said coldly, up to you. Hearing Yihua's cold and indifferent words, Qinya slightly curled up her body, and her shoulders lightly shook. Although she was crying, she did not let out a single sound, and she would not lower her head in front of this man. At this moment, Yihua's mood was exceptionally bad. At the same time he was thinking, did I spoil her too much, causing her to become more and more arrogant, to actually dare to propose a divorce now? I, the Supreme Overlord, have never treated a woman so well before, let alone a human woman. Thinking about the things that I have done for the past few days, Yihua felt that I have been too benevolent. Yihua stood up and walked out of the bedroom. When Qinya, who was at the side, heard the sound of Yihua leaving, at the moment when the door was closed, Qinya finally couldn't hold back the grievance in her heart and cried out. Picking up the pillow that was below her head and hugging it in her bosom, Qinya buried her beautiful face onto the pillow, and very quickly her tears of grievance wetted the pillow. For the sake of the child, I have the heart to walk down the path together with you, but you don't have the heart, and you even treat yourself as a tool to give birth to the child. Qinya have misjudged you. Coming to the office, Yihua took out a bottle of vodka, lit up a cigarette, then sat in front of the window and looked at the moonlight. Wei Chang. Lai Gu. Yihua called out gravely. Immediately, Wei Chang and Lai Gu appeared at the same time. Without thinking too much, the two of them immediately kneeled onto the ground and kowtowed. Because the tone that His Honor used to call out to them was not right, it was as if they had returned to the past, the time when His Honor was inhumane. Yihua squinted his eyes and looked at the full moon, then spat out a mouthful of smoke. Say, have I been too benevolent recently? Wei Chang and Lai Gu turned pale with fright. What is going on? Why did His Honor change so quickly? A few hours ago His Honor said that he was going to bring everyone out for an outing, and right now he actually completely changed. Lai Gu nudged Wei Chang, who was at the side. Aren't you very talkative? Quickly say something. How would Wei Chang dare to speak carelessly right now? He was afraid that if he were to say something wrong, His Honor would go berserk. If that happened, would Xiao Tang still be able to live? Obviously not. Subordinate doesn't dare to try to figure out His Honor's thoughts. Wei Chang said respectfully. I can only first figure out what exactly happened to His Honor, then figure out how to deal with the problem. Seems like that Tang Wei has changed you a lot. Yi Hua said indifferently, just that the temperature of the air suddenly dropped. Wei Chang was greatly startled. Your Honor, Xiao Tang is innocent. Yi Hua slowly stood up and walked in front of Wei Chang. Looking at Wei Chang, who had his head lowered, Yi Hua said, You are actually pleading for a human woman. The huge pressure caused Wei Chang to sweat profusely. Just what is going on with His Honor? Your Honor, Wei Chang didn't mean to contradict His Honor. I hope that Your Honor can forgive him this time. Lai Gu hurriedly replied. Yi Hua took a deep breath. I have heard that human women have the ability to bewitch people since a long time ago. Seems like the rumors are true. Wei Chang and Lai Gu took a look at each other. The reason why His Honor got so angry is because of the madam. However, the madam is only a human. How could she possibly make His Honor get so angry? Lai Gu didn't have much contact with Wei Chang, thus he didn't understand Wei Chang very well. Meanwhile, Wei Chang felt that the madam was very gentle, and didn't seem like the kind of woman who would make others angry. Wei Chang paused for a moment, then said, Subordinate feels that for Your Honor to be benevolent, it means that you have a deeper understanding of human nature. After all, there are benevolent people among humans too. Yi Hua didn't say anything and lit up another stick of cigarette. Seeing that His Honor didn't say anything, Wei Chang let out a sigh of relief. What Your Honor said just now, human women have the ability to bewitch people. Subordinate feels that we can understand it from another angle. Speak. Yi Hua said indifferently. Wei Chang was just speaking thoughtlessly, who knew that His Honor would ask about it in detail. What should I do? Yi Hua stealthily pulled onto Lai Gu, who was at the side. Lai Gu waved his hand. What do you mean by another angle? I just feel that any angle on the bed is fine. This Lai Gu, don't you have a lot of women? Will you die if I ask you to speak about your thoughts? Lai Gu expressed that if I were to speak about my thoughts, His Honor would probably fly into a rage again. Right now, I can only brace myself and speak about it. If Your Honor views this bewitching technique as love, perhaps, you will be able to understand. Bullshit. Yi Hua shouted out gravely. Wei Chang's Honor's attitude is just like those overbearing CEOs in television dramas. So it turns out that His Honor also has the same troubles as me. Subordinate deserves to die. Subordinate deserves to die. Wei Chang and Lai Gu immediately begged for forgiveness. However, the two of them let out a sigh of relief because the word bullshit that His Honor said just now clearly contained a human's emotions. Chapter 124. Lai Gu immediately followed along. Subordinate thinks so as well. Yi Hua tightly wrinkled his brows and walked back and forth, feeling restless. What are you still lying on the floor for? Hurry up and scram back to your room. Wei Chang and Lai Gu were overjoyed. Seems like His Honor has thought things through. Subordinate will scram right now. Subordinate will scram right now. Yi Hua opened his computer and searched for the definition of love on Baidu. After searching for an entire night, he came to a conclusion. Loving her means hurting her. I'm afraid that this is a pirated website. Dawn quietly rose. Yi Hua lied on the boss's chair and fell asleep. Meanwhile, Qinya, who was in the bedroom, did not sleep for the entire night. Feeling that the entire bed was ice cold, she got off the bed and washed up, then opened the office door and discovered that Yi Hua was actually sleeping on the chair. Qinya did not say anything, closed the door and walked out of the bar. Not knowing how long had passed, Yi Hua woke up. The first thing he did was to light up a cigarette, and a hint of irritation could be seen in between his brows. After smoking the cigarette, Yi Hua walked out of his office and arrived at the bedroom. There was not a single person in the room and the bed was neat and tidy. Could it be that this woman ran away from home? Yi Hua opened the wardrobe and discovered that Qinya's clothes were all there, even her shoes were all there. If this woman dares to leave, I will definitely tie her up. Arriving at sister-in-law's room as expected, Qinya was hiding here, just that, she did not play games and was instead sleeping on her little sister's bed. The corner of Qinya's eyes were still moist. On the table was a packed breakfast box, which was completely empty. There was no portion for me. Is she really planning on divorcing me? Do you think that I won't be able to continue living without you? What a joke. What bullshit, love, this is completely bullshit. And also, this sister-in-law is actually giving me an attitude, all of you are really something. Qin Yutong was naturally standing on her big sister's side. Early in the morning, her big sister ran over with breakfast in her hands, just that, her expression was not right, her pair of beautiful eyes were red and swollen. This was the first time Qin Yutong saw her big sister like this. No need to think too much, she must have definitely been bullied by brother-in-law. In the past, when the two of them quarreled, the quarrel would end within a minute, and from the looks of it, the situation today is not good. Big sister did not even say a single word and just lied down to sleep, and when I asked her what happened, she did not even say a single word. Although the system wants me to push the blame to brother-in-law, it is not forced. Big sister suffered such a big injustice. As a little sister, I definitely have to stand up. If you provoke me, be careful, I will elopse with big sister. My poor sister, you're still being bullied by your brother-in-law even though you're pregnant. Little sister will take revenge for you. The scene of brother-in-law abusing big sister appeared in Qin Yutong's mind. I can't tolerate it. Qin Yutong could be seen suddenly standing up, and with a cold look on her beautiful face she said, "You, come out." Qin Yutong's aura is not bad, it seems like she is going to risk her life. Yi Hua sneered. There has never been anyone who dared to speak to me like this, not even Qinya. The two of them walked out of the door and stared at each other. Qin Yutong was not weak at all, and her eyes were staring straight at Qin Yutong. Fuck, brother-in-law, this pervert didn't even blink his eyes, my eyes are getting sore from staring at him. In an instant, Qin Yutong could be seen to have changed her strategy, and in an instant she held onto Yi Hua's arm and said sweetly, "Brother-in-law, recently I found a good movie, Black Cat Police Officer Wiley." Yi Hua sneered in his heart. I want to see what kind of tricks this sister-in-law is playing. Let's go take a look. Yi Hua said faintly. Yes, yes, yes. Qin Yutong pulled Yi Hua into the office, and an exquisite dagger immediately appeared in her hand. With lightning speed, Qin Yutong pressed Yi Hua onto the sofa, and she even rode on top of Yi Hua and placed the sharp dagger onto Yi Hua's neck. No one would have thought that such an unexpected scene would happen. If Wei Chang and Lai Gu were here, they would definitely be stupefied. In his honor's entire life, he had never been played with like this before, and you, a little girl, actually dare to do this. Yi Hua also didn't expect that his sister-in-law would actually make such a move, and he was indeed a bit stupefied. However, this courage of hers is not bad, I have to look at her in a whole new light. Speak. Why do you want to bully my big sister? Qin Yutong shouted coldly, and from the looks of it, it didn't seem like she was joking. System face, master's personality that doesn't care about his life is back again. A cold glint appeared in Yi Hua's abstruse gaze. Do you know the consequences of doing this? I'm not afraid. The cold glint in Qin Yutong's beautiful eyes became even deeper. Ever since I was young, it was my big sister who tolerated me. Although we are not from the same mother, our big sister is still closer than a biological sister. When Qin Yutong saw how wronged and how sad her big sister was, Qin Yutong wished that she could find her brother-in-law and fight it out with him. However, when she thought about that pitiful little nephew of hers, she endured it. However, when she saw that her brother-in-law did not say anything when he came in, she became angry again. Right now, I have indeed pushed down brother-in-law, but the dagger in my hand is currently pressed onto brother-in-law's throat. Qin Yutong, are you not afraid of death? Yi Hua asked gravely. Qin Yutong used a bit of strength and a trace of blood flowed out from her skin. For my big sister, I am not afraid. A trace of black fog appeared on Yi Hua's finger and he asked gravely, how important is your big sister to you? She is my everything. Qin Yutong roared. Don't think that the reason why Qin Yutong didn't become the best actress was completely for fun. The reason why Qin Yutong shamelessly stayed here was so that she could push down brother-in-law. Qin Yutong only wanted to protect her big sister, that's all. When I was young, I was always taken care of by my big sister, and Qin Yutong decided that after I grow up, I will take care of my big sister. Even if Yi Hua did not appear, Qin Yutong would still shamelessly mix around with her big sister, then stay in her big sister's house, and kill anyone who has improper thoughts towards her big sister. Unexpectedly, she found out that her big sister actually had a man. After these few days, she felt that they were quite compatible. Brother-in-law was also very formidable, and he was enough to protect big sister. Sometimes they would quarrel, but they would reconcile very quickly. However, today was different, and this made Qin Yutong very angry. Hearing Qin Yutong's roar, Yi Hua went into a daze, and the black fog on his finger gradually disappeared. Speak, why did you bully my big sister? My big sister is so kind, she wouldn't even step on an ant. Speak. Qin Yutong's emotions were very out of control as she shook Yihua. Yihua took a deep breath. Your big sister wants to divorce me. You definitely bullied my big sister, that's why my big sister said such words. Because I don't accompany her to take wedding photos. Yihua said faintly. Qin Yutong was a bit stupefied. This is different from what I thought, shouldn't it be big sister being tied up by brother-in-law? And then big sister angrily brought up the divorce and looking at the traces of blood on brother-in-law's neck, I'm finished, master, you better pray for your own good luck, I will be leaving first. Qin Yutong's gaze drifted about, embarrassedly kept the small dagger and said in a low voice, brother-in-law, it's a misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding, I forgot to turn off my computer, I will go and turn it off. Stop right there. Yihua sat up and shouted gravely. Touching onto his neck and looking at the traces of blood on his hand, Yihua did not know what kind of mood he was in. A drop of blood from my fleshly body was actually ruined by my sister-in-law's hands. Qin Yutong swallowed her saliva. I'm finished? I'm finished, brother-in-law is going to flip out. Chapter 125. Yihua said coldly, come over. Brother-in-law, if you have something to say we can talk about it properly, we are also respectable people, it isn't good to use weapons. Where was Qin Yutong's imposing manner from just a moment ago? Yihua decided that today he must definitely teach this sister-in-law a lesson. To actually dare to point a knife at me, she must have eaten too much dragon meat. Get down. Yihua pointed at his leg and shouted. Qin Yutong was startled and her small face collapsed as she pouted her small mouth. Brother-in-law, Yutong knows that I am wrong, I will report you, I have a lot of big sister's dark history, can I use my good deeds to make up for my bad deeds? Get down. Qin Yutong dejectedly lied on Yihua's legs. Brother-in-law, be gentler. Raise your butt. Qin Yutong's perky buttock stuck out, she was quite cooperative. Stab me with a knife. Do you still dare to do it? Yihua shouted out gravely. I must definitely teach this sister-in-law of mine a lesson. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Brother-in-law, be gentler. Brother-in-law, spare me, Yutong will not dare to do it again. Brother-in-law. Brother-in-law. Daddy. Daddy, spare me. Right now, Qin Yutong was already incoherent with her speech. It really hurts. Meanwhile, the more Yihua fought, the more excited he became. Suddenly, the sound of pa 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 resounded in the office, and Qin Yutong's tender moan of pain could be heard mixed within. How was this a punishment? This was simply a reward in disguise. Congratulations, master. You have completed the first mission. Qin Yutong, who was currently being spanked, went into a daze. Master, your brother-in-law accidentally touched your thigh just now. Qin Yutong suddenly came to a realization. Brother-in-law has such a good scheme, since he is able to take advantage of me, he is still able to do it so openly. Brilliant. Was too high. Yihua expressed that his hand slipped a bit just now. This Qin Yutong's skin is rather slippery, the feeling of hitting is not bad, it is very elastic. The one who is suffering is Qin Yutong. Isn't brother-in-law too heavy-handed with his attacks? It seems like he is even venting his anger on my sister-in-laws, but brother-in-law is so shameless. Who asked Qin Yutong to step into the muzzle of the gun? To begin with, Yihua's mood wasn't that good. I definitely won't be able to beat up my wife. Didn't this sister-in-law send over to be beaten up by me? How much longer are you going to lie there? Yihua had already stopped his hands for a very long time, while his sister-in-law was lying there motionlessly. Qin Yutong's beautiful face was completely red as she said in a small voice, I can't move anymore. If you dare do this again, even your sister won't be able to save you. Brother-in-law, Yutong knows her mistake. I promise that there won't be a next time. Qin Yutong struggled to stand up. Right now, not only was her butt hurting, she even felt that she had to go and change into a pair of pants. Yihua waved his hand and Qin Yutong limped out of the office. In her heart, Yihua scolded her brother-in-law for being shameless. Who would hit their sister-in-law like this? Didn't I already apologize to her? It hurts so much. Ouch, my little butt is already swollen. After sitting for a while, Yihua walked out of leisure bar. His stomach was a bit hungry, luckily that Chinese crepe stall did not close. Add eggs and ham sausage. Yihua walked to the side of the stall and said. The auntie took a look at Yihua, then began to make breakfast while saying unhurriedly, Young man, you have also been eating breakfast at Auntie's place for a few years. Auntie doesn't feel that you are a bad person. Yihua was stupefied. If I, the supreme overlord, am not a bad person, then who is a bad person? Did everyone think that they were living too well during this period of time? However, it is not right for you to hit your wife. The auntie added another sentence. Yihua almost vomited blood. Which eye of yours saw me hitting my wife? If I were to be vented out by gossips, where would I, the supreme overlord, have any face left? Just as Yihua wanted to refute, the auntie did not even give him the chance to do so. You have also been a bachelor for a few years and it wasn't easy for you to find a good one, so cherish it. Wives are meant to be loved, not used to vent out one's anger. Auntie is someone who has been through it and was once beautiful too. Someone who has been through it and was once beautiful too. Can the auntie be less narcissistic and more sincere? Also, I, the supreme overlord, am still worried about women? With just a wave of my hand, who knows how many women would kneel down and lick my feet? You are saying it as if I, the supreme overlord, do not want anyone. Here, all right, your wife counted the money for 2 Chinese crepes this morning, but she only took 1. She must have known that you were coming. The auntie said with a slight smile. Yihua took over the piping hot Chinese crepes and was a bit absent-minded. Qingya really bought it for me? Young man, your wife treats you very well, treat her well. After finished speaking, the auntie began serving other customers. I lost another customer today. If not for you being handsome, I wouldn't have bothered to help you. Holding on to the piping hot Chinese crepes, Yihua returned to his bar and sat foolishly at the bar counter. Am I being too harsh towards Qingya? Forget it, forget it. A great person will not remember the wrongs of a small person. I will forgive her after she apologizes to me later. After a while, as expected, familiar footsteps came from behind. Without thinking too much, Yihua knew that Qingya had come down, and Yihua even took a peek at her. Yihua thought to himself, at least you are tactful, knowing that you are here to apologize. I will be merciful and forgive you this once, and let bygones be bygones. Along with the footsteps getting closer and closer, Yihua had already put on an appearance of accepting the apology. A burst of fragrance drifted past, and the corner of Yihua's mouth slightly twitched. This woman actually walked over just like that, and she doesn't even have the thought of apologizing at all. Could it be that you want me, the supreme overlord, to apologize to you? Dream on. Yihua picked up the glass cup and accurately smashed it not far away from Qingya. The clear and melodious shattering sound couldn't help but cause one's heart to sink. Qingya stopped her footsteps, didn't scold, didn't shout, didn't do anything at all. This kind of Qingya caused Yihua to be even more unhappy, and he asked gravely, "Where are you going?" Qingya remained silent. "I am asking you a question. Where are you going?" Yihua shouted out. "Why do I need you to care where I am going? Who are you to me?" Qingya asked coldly. Her tone didn't have a single bit of fluctuation, as if she was talking to a stranger. This caused Yihua to be angered to the point that his veins were popping out. "I can't hit her, and even after I taught her a lesson, she doesn't have any reaction. Come back." Qingya walked forward without any hesitation. This had really angered Yihua. With a wave of his hand, Qingya was unable to move. Being tied up by Yihua using magic, Qingya didn't make a sound, as if she already knew that this would be the end. The two of them wasted time just like this, and after around half an hour, Yihua was the first who couldn't hold it in anymore. Walking in front of Qingya, looking at that stubborn and beautiful face, Yihua asked gravely, "Just what are you trying to do? Do you still care about the thoughts of a tool?" Qingya asked back. In actuality, this situation right now was very easy to solve. As long as Yihua was willing to lower his head and admit his mistake, everything would be fine. Perhaps their relationship might even warm up a little. However, who was Yihua? He was a supreme overlord. To make a supreme overlord apologize to a human woman, that was something that was basically impossible. Pausing for a moment, Yihua's tone became a lot steadier and said, "That's more or less enough. If not, I will really get angry. If you have the ability, tie me up for an entire lifetime." "All right." Yihua went into a daze for a moment, then shouted out heavily. Light blue radiance emitted out from his palm and instantly enveloped the entire leisure bar. Not only did this conflict not resolve, it became even more intense. Yihua loosened the restraint on Qingya, then turned around and walked over. The strength in Qingya's entire body seemed to have been sucked dry as she slowly walked to the entrance of leisure bar. Stretching out her hand and touching the entrance, light blue ripples immediately appeared. Chapter 126. This bastard isn't human. Today I'll smash you, this broken Qing. Qingya could be seen angrily running into the bar counter, then picking up a wine bottle, she started smashing it. Immediately, crackling sounds rang out within the lounge of the bar, and a dense smell of wine drifted in the air. Upstairs, Qin Yutong was currently applying ointment on her little butt, and when she heard the sounds coming from downstairs, she thought that her brother-in-law and big sister had started fighting, and without caring about her little butt, she tiptoed downstairs. I didn't expect that it was big sister who was smashing the shop. Awesome. Big sister, what are you doing? Calm down. Qin Yutong hurriedly went up and dissuaded. From the looks of it, these two people will not be able to reconcile in a short period of time. Qinya shook off her little sister's hand and said angrily, "Don't stop me, today I'm going to burn this broken Qing into ashes." Big sister, don't get agitated, you are pregnant right now, you cannot get agitated. Qin Yutong wrinkled her eyebrows and persuaded. Even if you do not care about me, you have to care about the child. Qinya once again swung Qin Yutong's buttocks with all her might, and unexpectedly, Qin Yutong's buttocks bumped onto the wine table. Immediately, Qin Yutong's eyes rolled back. That painful feeling, that sour feeling, so painful. The furious Qinya did not notice her sister's strange behavior and angrily shouted, "Child! He only treated me as a tool to give birth to a child. Yutong, do you know how painful big sister's heart is?" Qinya couldn't hold herself back anymore and threw herself into her little sister's embrace and cried bitterly, seemingly wanting to cry out all of her grievances. Qin Yutong lightly comforted her big sister, feeling that there should be some kind of misunderstanding between the two of them, right? Looking at brother-in-law's expression today, he seemed to be rather hurt as well. The two of them are simply hurting each other, and there is even a need for sister-in-law to mediate between them. My butt hurts so much. Big sister, I won't hide it from you, just a while ago I had already taught brother-in-law a lesson, and even made a cut on his neck and helped you take revenge. Qin Yutong said as if she had won completely, and right now her little buttocks were all swollen up high. Qinya went into a daze for a moment, then said while choking with sobs, "You are too reckless, what if someone dies? TSK, just a moment ago didn't you wish for brother-in-law to die? Why did you become worried in the blink of an eye?" Qin Yutong had a face filled with disdain. Qin Yutong is truly a woman who doesn't have firm beliefs. "I am afraid of you," Qinya said petulantly as she wiped away the tears at the corner of her eyes. Qin Yutong took out a tissue and passed it to her big sister, then said tenderly, "Under my threat, brother-in-law said some things." "What words?" Qinya turned her head around and said coldly. She looked as if she didn't mind, but in actuality she cared a lot about it in her heart. Does Qin Yutong still not know? The two of them wanted to save face and refused to lower their heads. Brother-in-law said, "Say what?" "Speak, Qin Yutong. Are you going to tell me or not?" "Don't be anxious. Wait for me to control my emotions and learn from brother-in-law's state." Qin Yutong could be seen imitating Yi Hua, and her face sunk as she said faintly, "The matter that happened last night was my fault, but when I heard her talking about divorce I became extremely angry. After all, I love her." After finished speaking, Qin Yutong took a glance at Qin Yutong, and discovered that even her big sister was stupefied. "Did he really say that?" Qinya asked after a long while. "Isn't that so? Didn't you see brother-in-law's regretful expression? He just didn't want to show it in front of you." "Humph. In any case, I won't be able to forgive him so easily this time." Qinya pouted her mouth. It seemed that her anger had already dissipated by more than half. "That's right, we won't be able to forgive brother-in-law so easily this time." Qinya silently nodded her head. "Then big sister, you stay here and think about it first, I will be going upstairs." Qin Yutong immediately went upstairs and arrived at Yi Hua's office. Upon arriving, she saw that her brother-in-law was currently smoking a cigarette. "Brother-in-law. Good news." Qin Yutong limped into the office and had a smile on her face. Yi Hua extinguished the cigarette and did not even turn his head back. "I heard the sound from downstairs just now, this woman is simply out of control." "But," Yi Hua said coldly. Qin Yutong shook her head helplessly. "I really don't know how the two of us are going to get along with each other. Other people say that ice and fire are incompatible, and the two of us are just like two lumps of ice." Qin Yutong coughed lightly. "My big sister told me the truth just now." The corner of Yi Hua's eyebrows slightly raised as he slowly turned around. "What?" "Wait for me to control my emotions." Qin Yutong paused for a moment, then her beautiful eyes immediately turned red. Big droplets of tears flowed down as she pounced into Yi Hua's embrace. Soon after, Qin Yutong cried out loudly, "Yutong, do you know how much Big Sister loves your brother-in-law? Big Sister didn't go to work for him and played games with him, but he doesn't like Big Sister at all, and even said that Big Sister is a tool to give birth to children." After Qing Yutong finished speaking, she stopped crying and said with a smile, "Big sister was like that back then." "Did she really say that?" Yi Hua asked gravely. "Isn't that so?" "Big sister loves you so much that she almost wanted to commit suicide just now. Luckily I am here." Qing Yutong patted on her chest with a look of, "I did a meritorious deed, do you want to reward me with something?" Yi Hua snorted and his mood immediately became better. However, he said, "At least she has a bit of foresight." That's right, big sister must have accumulated a lot of good karma for being able to marry brother-in-law," Qing Yutong said with a smile. A white medicine bottle could be seen appearing in Yi Hua's hand. "Apply this medicine on your butt, it will be fine in a while." "Thank you brother-in-law." Qing Yutong felt that there was hope with brother-in-law, this great god. What is the point of needing the system? The system had already fainted from crying in the toilet. Yi Hua paused for a moment, then said faintly, "Ask your big sister to come up and apologize." Qing Yutong didn't expect that her brother-in-law would still be like this, and she was instantly stupefied. "What are you still standing there for?" Qing Yutong's brain was spinning rapidly. "If I were to collapse, our relationship would definitely worsen once again. I have to think of a way. Brother-in-law, this move is the worst possible move." Qing Yutong's expression changed and said solemnly. Seeing that his sister-in-law was so serious, Yi Hua couldn't help but become serious as well. "Why? Apologizing is just a formality, but this will not be able to change big sister's attitude. Continue speaking." Qing Yutong let out a sigh of relief. "Brother-in-law is so easy to deceive, he is an honest person, everyone quickly come and bully him. My big sister is a woman who would go up the roof and tear down the tiles if she doesn't get a good beating." After hearing that, Yi Hua silently nodded his head. "Therefore brother-in-law, you cannot forgive big sister so quickly, and you also cannot spoil her too much. However, don't fuss about last night's matter anymore. Do you understand what I mean?" "What you mean is, let me coldly treat your big sister and grind down her spirit," Yi Hua said gravely. "I feel that it is somewhat reasonable." "That's more or less what I mean. In any case, you also know how big sister feels about you." "You have a point." The corner of Yi Hua's mouth slightly rose. "I didn't expect that this woman would actually fall in love with me. At least you are sensible." Qing Yutong blinked her beautiful eyes. "My big sister is currently downstairs." Yi Hua tidied up his clothes, adjusted his hairstyle, then opened the door and went downstairs. "Seeing that you love me so much, I will not lower myself to your level." Chapter 127. Qingya sat on the bench and drank plain water. In actuality, she was thinking about a lot of things. The first time I met Yi Hua, I was also sitting here. However, from that time onwards, the trajectory of my life had changed. Although he was very cold and rarely smiled, but these few days he treated me very well. What my little sister said isn't without reason. Yi Hua is the kind of person who wants face no matter what, and even more so he wouldn't lower his head. Perhaps it was because I angered him last night that he became angry. But even if he was angry, he couldn't treat him like that. He didn't even explain himself. Suddenly, the sound of steady footsteps could be heard coming from the staircase. Qingya quickly got into a good posture. I can't let Yi Hua look down on me. This time, I definitely won't let him off easily. If not, I will still be bullied in the future. Yi Hua slowly walked over, and when he saw Qingya, who had a haughty look on her face, he laughed in his heart. "You probably don't know this, right? Your little sister has already sold you out, and yet, you are still putting on an act here. It isn't your fault that you fell in love with me. After all, I, the Supreme Overlord, am too outstanding, and there isn't a second person like me in this world." Seeing that Yi Hua was standing there and not speaking, Qingya pursed her lips. "Let's see how long you can be stubborn for. If you love me, then just say it out. What is there to be embarrassed about? It's no wonder I have become more beautiful recently." Yi Hua is embarrassed. A man who cares about his face no matter what. Let's see who can last longer. Yo, this woman is really enduring. She loves me so much that she is hovering between life and death. Just a moment ago, she even tried to commit suicide. Now that she saw me coming down, I reckon that her heart must be blooming with joy. Let's see how long you can hold it in for. Just like that, the two of them wasted 10 minutes and finally, Qingya was unable to hold back anymore. "I'm going to the hospital." A trace of an arc appeared on the corner of Yi Hua's mouth. "Aren't you very stubborn?" In the end, they still succumbed to my charm. With a light touch of his hand, the light blue barrier disappeared like a bubble. Qingya pouted her mouth. "Wasn't I very arrogant? If you have the guts, don't leave. Continue to lock yourself up. Why don't you say that you love me?" Will it kill you to say that I love you? Picking up her bag, Qingya walked out of leisure bar, and Yi Hua followed after her. Before walking out, he even shouted towards the upstairs, Yutong, come down and do some cleaning. Qing Yutong, who was upstairs, almost wanted to cry. Not only do I have to be the peacemaker, I even have to be the waitress. When brother-in-law is in a bad mood, I even have to offer up my butt. It was still the same Audi A8, Qingya was the driver, and Yi Hua was the master. After setting the route, Qingya started the car and drove towards a people's hospital. In the car, neither of them spoke. In fact, they were waiting for the other to speak first. However, neither of them spoke, and so they just waited. In actuality, Yi Hua didn't expect that Qingya would actually love him to the point that she would commit suicide. What a foolish woman, why did she have to pretend to be cold and aloof? Qingya also didn't expect that Yi Hua would complain in front of her sister. Aren't you a cold and aloof cultivator? You just like to act cool. Along the way, the two of them arrived at a people's hospital. Qingya had already arranged everything, and all that was left was to wait for the examination. Yi Hua was naturally going to accompany this foolish woman. Yi Hua really wanted to tell the others that just now, this fool went to commit suicide because of me, and right now, he still has that cold and arrogant look on his face. This is too amusing. And when Qingya saw that the other women were looking at Yi Hua as if they were infatuated, she really wanted to tell them, you all don't need to look at him anymore. This idiot has already fallen in love with me and is unable to extricate himself. Seeing that Qingya was going to get a checkup, Yi Hua didn't follow her into the hospital. In actuality, he didn't really like this place. The hospital had an unpleasant smell to it. He walked out of the building and strolled around. He was in a good mood. At the side of the people's hospital, there were a lot of elderly people who had set up stalls, and all of them claimed to be half immortals. This handsome brother, do you want to have your fortune read? Don't go, how about having your fortune read? Your future can also be read too. This little brother, I have top-notch not falling pills here, I guarantee that you will be able to enjoy yourself every night. Boring humans to use this kind of method to deceive their own kind, they are really hypocritical. Selling medicine. Selling medicine. All of these are miracle pills that have been blessed, 5 RMB for one pill. Eating one pill guarantees to prolong one's life. If it's ineffective, I will refund you. If you buy 2 pills, you will also get a lollipop pill for free. A bald little monk could be seen shouting madly, and the surrounding half-immortals who had set up stalls immediately revealed a gaze of disdain, but the little monk didn't mind in the slightest. Yi Hua felt that the little monk was rather interesting. Those pills that were placed on the cloth were emitting out a faint fragrance, and ordinary people naturally wouldn't be able to sense it. Big sister, quickly come over, there is a cute little monk over there. Little sister, slow down. The 2 cute little girls ran towards the little monk's stall from behind Yi Hua, and when the little monk saw the 2 beauties coming to his stall, his small eyes immediately started shining. Yi Hua walked over slowly. Of course, he wasn't going to the stall, those pills were not enough to enter his eyes, and he was just passing by. After all, there was only one path. However, the little monk who was currently flirting with the 2 girls wrinkled his brows, as he felt an evil aura coming towards him. Raising his head, he looked towards Yi Hua who was walking over. That faint evil aura was emitted out from this man's body. I didn't expect that I would meet a monster right after coming down from the mountain. My luck is not just ordinary. Slaying monsters is my master's aim, and of course, it is also my aim as well. Let me use my fiery golden eyes to see just what kind of monster you are. The little monk's eyeballs immediately turned golden, and ordinary people naturally wouldn't be able to sense it. *CK, it is actually a skeleton monster. Good fellow, I just happened to let the lollipop see some blood. Skeletons don't seem to have blood, I wonder if they have bone marrow or not. Yi Hua felt the little monk's unusual movement, and he became very curious. This little monk actually possesses such a profound technique, how did he obtain it? Let's go back. A familiar voice came from behind, and Yi Hua turned his head around to take a look. So it turns out that Qingya came over to look for me, and this silly woman still said that she doesn't care. However, right at this moment, the little monk cried out in fear. He didn't even want the medicinal pellets that were on the stall and immediately ran away, as if he had seen a ghost. Yi Hua originally wanted to ask about the origin of that technique, but since the other person had already run away, he couldn't be bothered to chase after him. Big sister, that little monk is so cute, why did he run away? Who knows, maybe his scam was exposed by us and he felt embarrassed to continue staying here. Sigh, big sister, let's go. The little monk who was running away even had the heart to cry. The bottom of the mountain is too scary, the top of the mountain is still the safest. "Master, when are you coming back? Your disciple has seen a big secret." At the start, the little monk's fiery golden eyes were indeed looking at Yi Hua, but following Qing Ye's shout, the little monk's gaze shifted over and immediately he was scared witless and immediately ran away. As for what he saw, only the little monk himself knew. Qing Ye's expression was ice cold. "I just finished checking and this fellow actually disappeared. He kept saying that children are important, but in the end I don't even know where he went." However, not knowing why, Qing Ye just felt that Yi Hua was strolling at the side door. When she went out to take a look, it was indeed as she had expected. "We are both cultivators, yet he still came here to have his fortune read so childishly." "How was the result?" Yi Hua asked faintly. "Normal." Qing Ye replied faintly. Those who didn't know might even think that the two of them had a grudge against each other. "I already said it yesterday night." Qing Ye didn't say anything and the two of them returned back to the residence. Chapter 128. After the two returned to Leisure Bar, they still did not speak a single word. Yi Hua took out his phone and ordered a crayfish. "If you have the ability, don't peel it." Qing Yutong could be said to be extremely unlucky today. She had just cleaned up the Leisure Bar, and her waist and back were aching. "Brother-in-law, what are we eating for lunch?" Seeing her brother-in-law and big sister had returned, Qing Yutong hurriedly asked, and the meaning behind her words was very clear. "Brother-in-law, I want to eat meat, crayfish." Qing Yutong's face was filled with disappointment. She missed the feeling of eating meat. When the meat was placed in her mouth, it would leave a fragrant taste in her mouth, and when she lightly sucked on it, the juices would even flow out, immediately making her feel relaxed and happy. He had never eaten such delicious meat before, and his skin felt great after eating it. It was much more delicious than the crayfish. Being unlucky was nothing. What was even more despairing was yet to come. The three of them sat at the dining table. Yi Hua and Qing Ye did not even move their chopsticks, and Qing Yutong was just blankly looking at them. Are they still not reconciled yet? "If you all are not going to eat, I will eat first." After finished speaking, Qing Yutong wore the gloves. But as he ate, he felt that the atmosphere was not right. Could it be that they were going to quarrel again? "Brother-in-law, please have some shrimp." "Sister, please have some shrimp." "Grandmasters, please have some shrimp." Qing Yutong vowed, "Next time, I will not be the peacemaker anymore, the one who will be tired will be me." Yi Hua snorted coldly. "Right now, you don't even want to peel the prawns anymore, seems like you are quite stubborn. I will deal with you at night." At the same time, Qing Ye snorted coldly. "You want me to peel the prawns for you?" Saying, "Wife, I was wrong," is more like it. A few caddies of crayfish were peeled off by Qing Yutong by herself, and Qing Yutong felt that her fingers were stinging. "Don't call me for dinner, I will settle it myself." After leaving behind this sentence, Qing Yutong returned back to her bedroom, and didn't eat with them anymore. Yi Hua wiped his mouth and walked towards the office, while Qing Ye walked towards the bedroom. "I, the Supreme Overlord, am going to sleep in the office today. Without my chest, I want to see how you are going to sleep. When the time comes, aren't you still begging me to get on your bed?" GGG. Looking at Yi Hua walking towards the office, Qing Ye wrinkled her brows. "At worst, I will just go and buy a doll. Do you really think that I won't be able to sleep without you?" When night fell, Qing Yutong planned to use instant noodles to solve the problem. In any case, she wasn't going to be their servant anymore. Yi Hua was waiting for Qing Ye to shout at him, and Qing Ye was waiting for Yi Hua to shout at her. In the end, the two of them couldn't hold it in any longer and secretly used instant noodles to fill their stomachs. Fighting was fighting, but they didn't want to starve themselves. In the past, Yi Hua often ate instant noodles, thus he had quite an understanding towards instant noodles. The first thing to do was to tear open the thin packaging on the outside, open the top layer of packaging, take out all the seasonings, tear open the packaging and add them into the box. Then he used the best ham sausage to bite into slices and poured boiling water into it. After the longest 3 minutes of his life, a bowl of Ye's instant noodles was done. A few slender noodles tugged at the heartstrings of thousands of people. "Ye's instant noodles, do you want to know about it?" Dong dong dong. Yi Hua, who was currently talking about the instant noodles, paused for a moment, then instantly hid the instant noodles and used his fastest speed to adjust his state of mind. "You're finally here, aren't you? Can't hold it in any longer. Say something nice to me, and I'll be merciful enough to lend you my chest for you to lie down on. Come in." Yi Hua shouted gravely. When he saw that the one who entered was Wei Chang, his expression changed. Scram. Just when Wei Chang wanted to speak, he didn't expect his honor to directly shout at him to scram. This scared me to death. However, why is there a smell of instant noodles in this office? His Honor is already a person who has a wife. Could it be that he still wants to eat instant noodles? Even I don't eat instant noodles anymore and Xiao Tang is still cooking for me. Lai Gu expressed that he was lying down and being fed by a woman. Yi Hua expressed that why you guys are so outstanding, do you believe that I won't change you guys back to how you were originally? Wei Chang, who was outside, let out a sigh of relief, then said to Jiu Yi, who was behind him, the boss is feeling annoyed right now, do not disturb him. The reason why Jiu Yi came over today was to invite Yi Hua over to discuss about the South's important matters. The people who came over were all big shots from various places, and all of them were here for the sake of the ancient godly item. They were discussing about how to strengthen the security and prevent the northerners from coming over to snatch it. That. Mr. Wei, the boss is not going, can you? Jiu Yi smiled apologetically. Not free, I have an appointment tonight. Wei Chang said faintly. Tonight I am going to watch a midnight movie with Xiao Tang, this is the important matter. Jiu Yi was very annoyed. I am unable to invite the boss. Even the boss's subordinates are unable to invite the boss. Right now the ancient godly item is getting restless, and the northerners have already infiltrated into the south, preparing to snatch it. If the ancient godly item were to be snatched away, the entire south's face would be completely thrown away. Chapter 129. Master, are we going to trample on debts? Death Mage expressed that trampling on debts would have a very bright future, and the profits would be very high. No, you can go and take a seat. Master, don't we have to kill people? Death Mage was very disappointed. Recently, I haven't been able to receive any missions to kill people. Do as you see fit. The car is waiting outside. Buy a mask and wear it. Don't scare people. Wei Chang said. Death Mage seemed to be a bit embarrassed. Master, subordinate doesn't have any more money. Wei Chang let out a heavy sigh and took out his wallet. Death Mage's eyes were flickering with a red light. My master is definitely very rich, but to say that I don't have any money, I feel so embarrassed. Looking at the money in the wallet, Wei Chang couldn't help but wrinkle his brows. There are two 1 RMB coins, one is 50 RMB, and the other is 10 RMB, there is only a total of 62 RMB. After getting a girlfriend, my expenses sure are high. But I feel embarrassed to ask His Honor for money. I should look for Lai Gu to borrow some money some other day. All of Lai Gu's women are celebrities, I reckon that he doesn't lack money. Wei Chang reluctantly took out a 10 yuan note. After watching the movie tonight he would still need supper. 52 yuan should be enough. Looking at his master taking out a soft 10 RMB note, Death Mage suddenly had a strange feeling. Master is really living a miserable life. I really can't bear to take this 10 RMB note. What are you waiting for? Get to work. Wei Chang urged. He quietly put away the 10 yuan, forgetting that he still had to take a taxi to send Tang Bingyao back. Just a moment ago, Death Mage was just about to stretch out his hand to take it, but he didn't expect that his master would put it away again. I feel so awkward, so the master was so stingy. Walking out of the toilet, Death Mage walked through the leisure bar with his head lowered. At the same time he took a clown mask from the table. From other people's perspective, they might even think that he was role-playing as that sickle looked so realistic. Jiu Yi was very curious about who Wei Chang would call over, he was truly too fucking curious. This leisure bar had this kind of magical power, those who didn't understand would think that it was a tiger's den, but those who understood a little would be filled with boundless curiosity. Thoroughly understood. They're all weirdos. He took out a Cuban cigar, put it under his nose, sniffed it and cut off one end. The lackey in front of him was instantly enraged. This young man had a bright future. Just when Lord Jiu was smoking, a human figure walked out from the leisure bar. He was wrapped in a black gown and wore a clown mask on his face. Looking at his attire, Lord Jiu foolishly held the cigar in his mouth and even forgot to open the car door. This was probably the black robe that fought Xiao Yi. That Wei Chang actually called over such a ferocious person. How did he do it? This is too fucking scary, isn't it? Please don't sit beside me, don't. Death Mage opened the car door by himself, and with a stab of the sickle in his hand, a hole was cut open on the roof of the car, and the sickle that was emitting a cold glint just happened to stab onto Jiu Ye's cigar, cutting it into two. A Rolls-Royce Phantom was sliced in half just like that. Death Mage retreated once again, and an ear-piercing sound suddenly rang out beside Jiu Ye's ears. When Jiu Ye raised his head to take a look, he saw the panoramic sunroof at the back row. He turned the scythe of death into a walking stick before sitting down steadily. Lord Gio reflexively moved to the other side and sat down. What should he say now? That person is someone who fought against Xiao Yi. What should I do? I'm waiting for you online. I'm urgently looking for you. After sitting in the car, Death Mage was thinking about another matter. Wasn't my subordinate, Death Assassin, on a business trip? That Long Outyin must be a rich man. After he finished his business tonight, he would go and knock some lollipops. Long Outyin, who was currently training hard, felt a gust of cold wind and couldn't help but tremble. Jiu Yi, are we going? The driver in the front asked while trembling with fear. Go. While being blown by the natural wind, Jiu Yi felt very melancholic. Ever since I met the boss, I feel that I am not like myself anymore. Your Excellency, how should I address you? GGG, Imperial Translation, Idiot. Hearing the strange sound that the black robe made, Jiu Yi's back felt a chill. A top-notch Cuban cigar, do you want one? Jiu Yi asked nervously, and his hands were trembling. Death Mage took a look at the cigar and nodded his head. Jiu Yi let out a sigh of relief. As long as the other party is willing to accept the cigar, I will be able to be more at ease. He personally cut the cigar and passed it to the black robe. Wait a minute. That hand. Why is it white? When he saw the black robe taking off his mask, Jiu Yi's eyeballs almost popped out. This isn't a fucking human. It's actually a skeleton. There is a fucking skeleton sitting beside me. What should I do? I'm waiting online. Jiu Yi took out a golden bright lighter and lit it up with both of his hands. However, his hands were trembling very intensely. Death Mage took a deep breath. I feel that it's not bad, it's quite flavorful. However, Jiu Yi wasn't calm anymore. This black robe's entire body was emitting smoke, and those who didn't know would think that the car was on fire. How can it not emit smoke? After taking a deep breath, the inside of the black robe is filled with bones, even beer would leak out. GGG, Imperial Translation, I want all of those. Although Jiu Yi didn't understand what the black robe was saying, his finger was pointing at the cigar box. If Jiu Yi didn't even understand what the black robe was saying, then he would have wasted his time here. If your distinguished self likes them, I still have a lot of them here. Jiu Yi decided to hug onto the black robe's thigh. That boss is too cold, and I feel that he isn't someone who is easy to talk to. That Wei Chang is the same as well. This black robe is different because he has needs. Death Mage stretched out his hand and patted onto Jiu Yi's shoulder. GGG. Imperial Translation, not bad, young fellow. Jiu Yi's smile was very forced. Looking at the skeleton hand on his shoulder, his entire body felt bad, as if his body was hollowed out. Death Mage could be seen taking out an Apple X and a power bank. Opening the game interface, Death Mage tapped on the button to top up, then placed it in front of Jiu Yi. Jiu Yi was very nervous and asked, Your distinguished self, do you need to top up? GGG. Imperial Translation, Foolish human, aren't you talking nonsense? Is 100 enough? I met another miser. Death Mage tapped on 648. Jiu Yi immediately understood, Your distinguished self, let's add each other on WeChat, I will immediately transfer the money to you. Looking at the black robe's WeChat profile picture, Jiu Yi was speechless. What a cute cartoon version of a skull, it is completely different from the one on your face. Seeing that the other party transferred 1,000 yuan to him, Death Mage expressed his gratification. This human has a bit of good eyesight. Bye. Jiu Yi had never seen a person who could fish so seriously before. No, a skeleton. Especially this kind of expert, to actually go and play such a childish game. This is simply ruining one's worldview. The Rolls-Royce Phantom, whose roof was opened, drove out of the city. Along the way there was still smoke and the scene was a bit strange. There was a red wine winery in the western outskirts of Long'an City, and the boss of the winery was naturally Jiu Yi. Jiu Yi was more or less the host, and he had to do his part as a host. He had to properly make arrangements for the arrival of the various powers. Chapter 130. This winery was the product of Lord Gio's meticulous care. Lord Gio even lived here, which showed how much he valued this place. After all, the location of this winery was very good. It was far away from the hustle and bustle of the city. Everywhere was filled with a peaceful atmosphere, as if it was situated on a green prairie. Sir, we have arrived. Lord Gio smiled modestly. Bye. Death Mage held onto his phone with a cigar in his mouth and a cane in his armpit. A mask? I forgot. Sir, wait for me. Without waiting for his underling to open the door, Jiu Yi immediately ran over and asked about Death Mage's well-being. However, Death Mage's gaze was only focused on his phone. Wah wah wah. Hearing the sound of gold coins, Death Mage fiercely took a puff of his cigar, and soon after his entire body started emitting smoke. GGG, Imperial Translation, awesome. Originally, Jiu Yi had thought that Death Mage was just playing around in the car. However, he didn't expect that Death Mage was actually holding onto his phone all the time. Death Mage didn't even have the intention to put his phone down. There are a few big shots sitting inside the car. It doesn't seem too good for you to just hold onto your phone and enter the car. Especially that, biu sound. How can the sound of this Apple X be so loud? My 8848 is still the best. Sir, can you stop for a moment? GGG, Royal Translation. Can you afford to pay for so many fish? Jiu Yi was still an experienced person, and he was able to discern Death Mage's emotions from his tone of voice. The two of them walked into the interior of the winery. At this moment, there was a large round table in the winery's conference room. There were 8 men and 1 woman sitting around it. Some were dressed in suits, while others were dressed in magic robes. The only female member was gorgeous. She wore a floral jade-colored robe and had a floral veil draped over her shoulders. Her soft black hair was pinned with a flying fairy hairpin. She looked like a fairy. This person was the sect master of Cloud Sect, Sun Fang. What the hell are we doing here? One of the middle-aged men shouted in a deep voice. This person was the alliance leader of the Southern Alliance, Hai Daisy. Because he was bald, he looked quite fierce. Traceless Pavilion's pavilion master was dressed a little weirdly. He was wearing a loose t-shirt, loose pants, a gold chain around his neck, a hat, sunglasses and other accessories. He was dressed in a hip-hop style. Recently, he had indeed become infatuated with hip-hop. Gu Zheng clapped his hands and actually started rapping. Hai Daisy, why are you so anxious? Hai Daisy, hi go and take revenge. Hai Daisy your ass. Hai Daisy jumped. Alliance Chief Hai, don't panic. The one who spoke was the sect master of the Loud Thunder sect, Yang Yi. Wang Debao, who was cutting his fingernails, smiled and said, that's right. Why are you panicking? Didn't the Dry Zen sect also lose an elder? How does it feel to have someone to accompany you? Dry Zen sect master Che Zhishuan's expression turned cold. Wang Debao. Dry Chinese sect Hai said, Lord Hai Che. Hai of. I said I. Lord I. Lord I. Yang as I. Yang. Lord. Li Ji Tian Hai. G Lord. Hai said. G, alright everyone stop talking. The one who spoke was called Ji Anyun. He wore a pair of ordinary glasses and his looks were average. However, he seemed to be very intelligent. In fact, none of them dared to act rashly because everyone's strength was about the same. Unless they outnumbered each other, it would be meaningless. After all, if fighting wasn't to win, then what was the point of fighting? Hai Daisy angrily said, if it were up to me, we should join forces to denounce them. Yo, check who is making a fuss. It's not like my elder died. The pavilion master of Traceless Pavilion, Gai Zheng, crossed his arms and made a 666 gesture. Hai Daisy was so angry that he almost vomited blood. I'm going to King kill you today. Also, come yo, come over here. Yang Yi, the sect master of the Mighty Thunder sect, grabbed hold of Hai Daisy who was about to go berserk. Alliance Master Hai, don't be agitated. This sect leader is also very sad that something like this happened. You have to get used to it in the future. Hai Daisy's face stiffened. Yang Yi took out a hat from nowhere and put on a pair of sunglasses. Yo, check it out. Gai Zheng immediately replied, Yo, brother is so awesome. Yo, this is a good stab. I'm going to King kill these 2 bastards today. A strong energy burst out from Hai Daisy's body. How could Gai Zheng and Yang Yi not be arrogant? 2 of the elders that went out died and one of them was injured. Look at us, we came out without a single injury. That's why, even if the younger brother is brainless, the older brother definitely isn't any better. Dry Zen sect leader Che Zhishuan said coldly, count me in. Wang Debao, Zhuoxinran Ji Anyun, and Guang Tianlu who hadn't made a sound all this while, the 4 of them just watched and didn't have any plans to make a move. To them, all of these people could be counted as cultivators, and this kind of relationship had to be divided properly. Enough. Cloud sect leader Sun Fang shouted out coldly. She is a beauty, so I have to give her some face. Che Zhishuan snorted and gradually retracted his killing intent. If it wasn't for sect leader Sun pleading for you all, I would have turned you all into thick water today. That's right. Since sect leader Sun has spoken, I won't make things difficult for you two immature children. Hai Dicey's expression changed. If he was an angry man just now, then he was a warm young man now. The Beauty of the North was by Cixin, and The Pride of the South was Sun Fong. The beauty of these two beauties wasn't just for show. Hai Dicey and Che Zhishuan just felt that they had lost face. Gai Zheng and Yang Yi, on the other hand, were just teasing the beauties and using this kind of method to attract the other party. Or maybe they had gotten some news and found out that sect leader Sun was listening to hip-hop music recently, so they purposely did this. Today's discussion is about how to protect the ancient godly equipment and the ownership of the ancient godly equipment. Sun Fong's tone was gentle and comfortable. Zhuo touched his hair. Sect leader Sun, how is your sect's elder Xing? Family leaders were really cares about our sect's matters. Sun Fong's tone was slightly angry. Ji Anyun rubbed his eyes. I heard that Elder Xing died on the way back yesterday, is that true? Elder Xing sacrificed himself for the greater good, but I will naturally take revenge for this. Well said. Revenge. Hai Dicey and Che Zhishuan immediately agreed. Zhuo chuckled. Lord Jiu will bring people over later, I'm really looking forward to your revenge. Wang Dabao took off his shoes, then took off his socks and actually started to cut his toenails. This action made people's hair stand on end. Sect leader Sun, I feel that we should think more about the matter of revenge. Gai Zheng felt that it was better not to take revenge. Yesterday, when the elder came back and reported the situation, although he wasn't there, his heart still felt cold when he heard it. Just as Sun Fong opened her mouth to speak, a soft sound entered everyone's ears. Bye. Chapter 131. Bang. The two doors were kicked open by Death Mage, and Jiu Yi, who was at the side, froze in the middle of persuading Death Mage. The atmosphere immediately froze. Perhaps it was because the two wooden doors were quickly opened. The sealed conference room produced a wind that blew Death Mage's black robe up. If Death Mage was to wear a wig, his posture would be comparable to the god of gamblers. Especially the cigar that Death Mage was holding in his mouth, when he took a puff, his entire body would emit smoke, making him look very stylish. The iPhone 10 that he was holding in his hand was ringing with a beautiful and joyous melody, and at the bottom of the phone was a white cable that extended into the black robe. Presumably, it was plugged into a power bank. Death Mage swept his gaze across everyone. Their strength is not bad, but compared to Xiao Yi they are still a bit weaker. But even if that is the case, fishing is still more important. I will be able to gather 7 Dragon Balls soon and exchange them for 10 RMB worth of expenses. I am finally going to win money. The 9 people present just watched as Death Mage walked in, sat down, and then, Biu, as the leader of a sector family. Of course they knew about the incomparable battle that happened that night. Xiao Yi fought against the Black Robe, and in the end he even used an ancient godly item to win against the Black Robe. In actuality, Xiao Yi was still wearing a super strong defensive armor. Everyone was guessing who exactly this person was and what relationship he had with the bar owner. Now that he appeared here, there was no need to say much. This person's identity belongs to the top of the bar. That means that the 2 people from yesterday should be his underlings. This bar is truly a place with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. If Death Mage knew what these people were thinking, he would definitely say it. Imperial translation: Master is busy with a date, and his honor is currently dealing with family matters, so I had no choice but to come by myself. Do you all think that I wanted to come? Isn't this the same as losing money? I came out to fish for some money. What everyone was shocked about was not only the identity of the Black Robe, but also the appearance of the Black Robe. It is actually an evil spirit. When did such a powerful evil spirit appear? As powerful bosses, they were all stupefied. After all, they are all people who subdue demons, and the skeleton in front of them actually grew up right under their eyes. This is unbelievable. Everyone didn't know what to do. About that, let me introduce everyone. This is the famous Black Robe. Jiu Yi squeezed out a smile and introduced the Black Robe to everyone present. Death Mage fiercely took a puff of his cigar, and in an instant, the smoke lingered around the room. Death Mage's bony fingers continued to tap on the screen of his phone, and the sound of gold coins clattering could be heard coming out from the phone's speaker. Wang Dabao revealed a puzzled expression. What was the relationship between it and the man that day? Employment relationship? Or a superior and subordinate relationship? Such powerful skeletons shouldn't have a superior and subordinate relationship. The employment relationship was more normal. Suddenly, Wang Dabao felt that there was a possibility. That man was also Black Robe's underling. As the boss, it was only natural for him to step in. If that's the case, everything will make sense. I wonder if my wife will praise me after hearing my deduction or not. Just thinking about it makes me so excited. Popping candy with iced water, it feels so good. Everyone, why don't we begin? Lord Joe laughed dryly. Black Robe couldn't control him. He was a great god. Ji Anyan adjusted his spectacles and looked towards Death Mage, and a row of information immediately appeared on his spectacles. Race, undead life, IQ, realm, interests, marriage. Ji Anyan's brows were tightly knitted together. Could it be that this spectacles crashed? It's actually filled with question marks. Hai Dicey could be seen taking the lead and saying, "Before we start the meeting, Wang Debao, please leave." Wang Debao wore his shoes and sniffed his hands. Why? A man who married into Bai family, what right does he have to sit together with us? Che Jixuan shouted out. Don't look at how Wang Debao married Bai Cixin. Everyone in the circle knew that Wang Debao was afraid of his wife, and he was even more afraid of Bai family. However, Wang Debao just had to set his headquarters at Gaohai City in the south. Everyone knew that Wang Debao was afraid of his wife. Furthermore, Bai family was the leader of the family. The wife controls the north, the husband controls the south, and then the two swords would work together. Zhou Xinran said faintly, Xiao Wang's hometown is in Gaohai City. How can you say that he is a northerner? Biu, but he has a northerner wife. Gu Zheng changed his hip-hop style and slammed onto the table as he shouted. Biu, Wang Debao scratched his head. My wife only went back to her parents' house to stay for a few months, look at you all. Biu, everyone's brows wrinkled. Death Mage held onto his chin with his left hand, and his empty eye sockets flickered with red light. Warning, warning. The boss is attacking. Death Mage could be seen holding onto his phone. Bang 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 bang. The entire conference room was filled with the sound of bone fingers tapping onto the screen. Jiao Yi had the intention to persuade Death Mage, but when he saw how excited Death Mage was, he decided to forget about it. Gradually, Death Mage put down his phone, and a black fog emitted out from his body, scaring everyone into activating their defense. Death Mage looked at the gold coins that had already been cleared, and he really wanted to kill someone. I just spent over 1 million gold coins in one go, and in the end a human entered the room, clicked on the screen and killed the boss. How can I not be angry? All cunning humans deserve to die. The black fog on Death Mage's body actually left his body and floated above his head like a black cloud. In an instant, the black cloud rapidly flew towards a corner of the conference room. Everyone turned pale with fright, not knowing what the Black Robe was doing. Meanwhile, Death Mage quickly picked up the cane that was placed beside him and fiercely threw it forward. Dong. The cane was forcefully stabbed into the wall, and its original appearance was gradually revealed. Everyone took in a breath of cold air once again, but what was even more shocking was yet to come. The wall was actually bleeding. Gradually, a person who was wearing a black robe was revealed, and there was a big hole in his chest. Profound hidden sect. Everyone cried out in shock. A horrified scream rang out from within the black cloud, and the black cloud seemed to be wrapped around something that was floating in the sky. Everyone didn't need to think too much to know who it was. Originally, Death Mage didn't want to care about it, but who knew that the boss that he had painstakingly killed would be snatched away by someone else? Wasn't it just nice that there were two muzzles? The expressions of the big shots in the conference room didn't look good. The people from Profound Hidden Sect had infiltrated into the conference room, and not a single one of them noticed it. These two people were definitely the trump cards of Profound Hidden Sect. If it wasn't for this black robe, the contents of today's conference would have been leaked out, and the consequences would be unimaginable. Sun Fang glared at the man within the black cloud and shouted out, "Speak! What do you all know?" The man who was wrapped within the black cloud let out a miserable howl. It wasn't that he didn't want to speak, but rather, he couldn't. Death Mage's finger moved slightly as if he was torturing the man above him. "Your Excellency, can you let him go? I want to ask." Sun Fang said to Death Mage. Her tone was very courteous, but in her heart, she was very angry. This fellow's subordinate killed my elder. GGG, Imperial Translation, I don't want to. Following that, Death Mage clenched his finger. The black cloud instantly corroded the man, and soon after, the man dissipated. Not even a piece of him was left behind. Chapter 132. The entire meeting room turned silent in an instant as everyone stared at Sun Fang in disbelief. Everyone estimated that with Sun Fang's strength, she had a 4% chance of winning against Xiao Yi. But against the fully armed Xiao Yi, her chances of winning were 0. As for this black-robed man, he had beaten the fully armed Xiao Yi like a dog. Although Xiao Yi had won, it had been a tragic sight. In actuality, everyone had overlooked one point. Death Mage was ordered to not kill Xiao Yi, and yet Death Mage acted recklessly, and in the end he was killed by someone. Everyone really couldn't understand why Sun Fang wanted to challenge this black robe. The gains didn't make up for the losses. Something bad happened, she would die. Sun Fang's beautiful eyes were ice cold. Her own elder had died miserably at the hands of your little brother yesterday. Of course, this vengeance should be avenged by this sect leader. If I let this enemy go, how would I explain it to the disciples of the sect? It would make the hearts of the sect disciples even more bitterly disappointed. No matter what the hell that purity bar was up to, he had to take revenge for Elder Xing today. Thinking of this, Sun Fang couldn't help but recall the way Elder Xing was carried back. All of the meridians in his body had been severed, and his internal organs felt as though they had been tossed into a blender. After asking a disciple, she found out that this was caused by Elder Xing's duel with a middle school student. At that time, there didn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary. He must have fallen into some sort of secret passage. What a joke. How could an ordinary person withstand a casual slash from Lai Gu, even if it was a slash from his hand? All the big shots in the cultivation world were very worried, but the family heads on Wang Debao's side didn't care and just treated it as a show. Death Mage stared at Sun Fang with his empty eye sockets. The latter did not seem to be afraid in the slightest. However, to Death Mages they were already used to this kind of gaze because they did not know their own strength at all. A mere human woman dares to challenge me? Death Mage was currently considering whether to kill her or, I heard that his honor has been cultivating his humanity recently, and even Master is cultivating his humanity as well. From this, it could be seen how important humanity is. Thinking about it, I am also cultivating my humanity. At the very least, I can be considered to be keeping up with his honor and Master's footsteps. Thinking about gambling, Death Mage decided that he had to win this time. He picked up his phone and started typing. Colorful words scrolled across the screen. I'll bet on one. Sun Fang shouted in a tender voice, I'll accompany you to the end. Death Mage typed again. If you lose, you'll become my slave. Everyone cursed him for being shameless in their hearts. It was obvious that he was going to win, yet he still wanted to take in a proud southern girl as a slave. He was simply inhuman. So what if you accept it? Do you even have a weapon? Sun Fang was angered to the point her face flushed red. As the sect master of the Cloud sect, when had she ever been humiliated like this? If she didn't wash away the humiliation she suffered today, how would she be able to raise her head in the cultivation world? All right. If you lose, I'll hack you to pieces. Death Mage nodded his head. If I am still unable to win this bet, I will stop gambling from now on. Lord Jiu facepalmed. The meeting hadn't even started and they were about to start fighting. What a headache. Death Mage stretched out his skeletal hand, and the death scythe that was nailed onto the wall flew back into his hand. Sun Fang then casually grabbed onto something, and a purple sword appeared in her hand. The group arrived at the large garden behind the winery. It had to be said that the air in the suburbs was really fresh. In addition, there were many flowers and plants planted around, and they could smell the fragrance of the flowers when the breeze blew. This kind of scene was a good time for a date. Sitting on the grass, hugging a big sister and looking at the stars. Borrowing the darkness, they could even get intimate with each other. Seems like Lord Jiu had his own plans for staying here. Everyone, do you want to change to another place to fight? Lord Jiu said weakly. This garden was something that I meticulously made. However, not a single person replied to Lord Jiu's question. Death Mage and Sun Fang stood at the center, and the battle was about to start at any moment. The other 4 big shots of the cultivation world were prepared to save Sun Fang at any moment. Death Mage stabbed the death scythe in his hand onto the ground, then spread out his hands and said, GGG, Imperial Translation, Woman, tremble in front of me? Although Sun Fang didn't know what the black-robed man in front of her was doing, she knew that he definitely didn't have any good intentions. Immediately, Sun Fang pulled out her sword. A series of sword cries immediately rang out, and everyone couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. Sect Master Sun's strength doesn't seem to be as what the rumors say. Isn't this nonsense? Who doesn't have a few trump cards up their sleeves? It's just that they didn't use them yet. Death Mage stretched out his index and middle fingers, and everyone didn't understand what he meant. However, when they saw Death Mage slightly hooking up his index and middle fingers and shaking them at an extremely high frequency, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. That was because everyone had forgotten an important point. Although Death Mage didn't have any weapons, he still had his fingers. As expected of a talent. Sun Fang's face flushed red, and the spiritual energy on her body suddenly exploded out. The flowers and grasses in the surroundings immediately flew into the sky, and the scene was instantly beautiful. A silver light flashed and Sun Fang's entire body turned into an afterimage. Everyone who was watching the battle had grim expressions on their faces. Sun Fang's strength is truly very strong. Sun Fang looked at the dazed black robe and sneered in her heart. Do you really think that I, the sect master, am easy to bully? And to still want to be your female slave? You are truly delusional. Death Mage didn't use any weapons, that was because he had other intentions. Death Mage stretched out his spotlessly white and long bone finger and grabbed out. He firmly grabbed onto Sun Fang's right wrist that was holding onto the sword, then grabbed onto Sun Fang's alluring waist with his right hand. Dicey was dumbstruck. How is this even a battle? This is clearly a display of affection. Che Jixuan clenched his fists tightly. The goddess in his heart is actually being hugged by a skeleton, damn it. Gu Zhang and Yang Yi were about to go berserk. Their goddess was being defiled by a skeleton. Wang Debao was also very stupefied. I didn't expect that this skeleton would actually be so good at flirting with girls. The two of them looked like they were doing a ballroom dance, and it was hard for people to not think too much. Sun Fang was even more miserable. The skeletal hand on her wrist was like an iron pincer, and the hand around her waist was the same, making her unable to move at all. Looking at the skull that was so close to her and the red glow in its eye sockets, Sun Fang didn't show any signs of weakness. The spiritual energy in her body erupted once again. Even if she had to risk getting injured, she wouldn't let this skeleton take advantage of her. Boom. A shockwave spread out with the two of them as the center, and the entire sky was filled with all sorts of flowers. Death Mage casually grabbed onto one of the roses, then revealed his spotlessly white teeth and bit onto it. *CKme. Everyone felt as if their worldview had been completely destroyed. Don't pull me, I want to kill this skeleton. I don't even dare to tease the goddess like this. Dicey couldn't take it anymore, but no one stopped him. Blood seeped out from the corner of Sun Fang's mouth. Her forceful struggle just now had caused her internal energy to become chaotic. This black robe was truly terrifying. This was only the first exchange of blows and he was already injured. If this continued, he would definitely lose. If it really comes to that, even if I die, I won't let a skeleton humiliate me. Suddenly, Sun Fang felt a chill coming from her back, and the sword in her hand immediately flew towards Death Mage. Chapter 133. Let go of my goddess. Che Jixuan angrily attacked, and a powerful spiritual energy struck towards Death Mage. A black fog shot out from Death Mage's bone finger and instantly dispersed the spiritual energy that was rushing towards Che Jixuan. Dry Zen sect was an alchemy sect, and their overall strength was not very high. However, Che Jixuan, who was the sect master, was naturally considered to be rather powerful. But in this group of people he was at the bottom. Che Jixuan could do nothing about the black fog's attack. He flew backward and crashed into a building like a cannonball. Lord Jiu's heart ached when he saw this. Everyone was speechless. No matter how weak Che Jixuan was, he was still a sect leader, yet this black robe had actually sent him flying with one move. His strength was actually terrifying to such an extent. Dicey was just about to make a move, but when he saw Che Jixuan get killed, he stopped. Although the goddess was still needed, if he didn't have a life, how could he be intimate with the goddess? Death Mage inserted the rose that was in his mouth into Sun Fang's hair. This action caused everyone to tremble with fear, and no one dared to recklessly attack Sun Fang. Sun Fang glared at the skeleton in front of her. She did not beg for mercy, nor was she afraid. Kill me if you can. You want me to be your slave? Dream on. Looking at the beauty in his arms, the undead skeleton smiled. GGG, Imperial Translation, you want to die? How could it be that easy? Death Mage could be seen lowering his head slowly. Sun Fang's expression finally changed. Everyone was stunned. What happened next caused goosebumps to rise all over people's bodies. They actually kissed. After quite a while, Death Mage raised his head. Human women's lips are so soft, my first kiss is actually gone. Looking at the woman who had already fainted, Death Mage carried her into his embrace, then picked up his scythe and disappeared from everyone's sight. There was only one thought in all the men's minds. Was over. The southern beauty Sun Fang had been defiled by a skeleton. When Death Mage appeared once again, he was already in the middle of a large mountain. Placing the woman in his embrace onto the grassland, Death Mage lit up a cigar, took out his phone, and recharged all of the money that he had left. The familiar voice sounded again. Bayubiabubiu, Master. A black figure appeared beside Death Mage and shouted out respectfully. This person was the death assassin who was guarding Long Out Yin. What happened to that Long Out Yin? Death Mage asked while playing with his phone. In actuality, Death Mage could very well ask Jiuyi for money, but Death Mage felt that if he were to ask the same human for money, if news of this were to spread out, where would his face be? If Master and his honor were to find out about this, wouldn't I not even be able to raise my head? Replying to Master, Long Out Yin has been staying in a small thatched cottage during this period of time, and he has not appeared. Death Assassin seemed to be a lot more normal. I finally met a normal person. Find an opportunity to ask for some money? We don't have enough funds. Master, he's here. Oh? Hurry up, it's time to top up again. Yes, Master. Death Assassin's figure disappeared in an instant, truly coming and going without a trace. Meanwhile, Death Mage continued to keep on going. Bayubiubiu. Beside him, there was even Sun Fang who had fainted. However, in everyone's heart, the southern pampered girl Sun Fang was definitely being humiliated by the skeleton. However, this news would instantly spread throughout the entire south, even to the north. Now, even if Sun Fang returned safe and sound, everyone's saliva would drown her. Within the small thatched cottage, Long Out Yin, who was wearing a tattered long gown, was currently hugging onto a petite and cute girl while saying words of love. Meng Meng, I wonder if you will be able to come back alive after going out today. Long Out Yin let out a long sigh and said with an extremely gentle tone. Meng Meng rubbed onto her beloved man's chest and said, Brother Long, if you meet with misfortune, Meng Meng will accompany you. Long Out Yin took a deep breath. This is the plot of the main character being loved by the female lead to death. Wait till I defeat that black-clothed man, the entire world will belong to me, Long Out Yin. I, Long Out Yin, will be able to pick any beauty in the world. However, Meng Meng, don't worry, when Brother Long finishes working hard outside, I will definitely come and pick you up. Long Out Yin consoled Meng Meng attentively. Meng Meng smiled tenderly. It's all right, Brother Long, you just have to work hard at ease. Meng Meng will wait for you here. Meng Meng, you are the best. Brother Long, keep this bottle of medicine, take 1 pill a day, if not, the love goo will break out. Meng Meng, I, Long Out Yin, thank the heavens for having you in this life. Tears of pain flowed out from Long Out Yin's eyes. Isn't it just having sex? To actually be so ruthless, why am I, Long Out Yin's life, so bitter? Brother Long, Meng Meng will be yours for my entire life. Meng Meng, Long Out Yin cried. After a long time, Long Out Yin said gravely, Meng Meng, I'm leaving. Brother Long, you must definitely come back victorious. Bringing along his exhausted body, Long Out Yin walked out of the small thatched cottage. The feeling of leaving feels so good. After walking far away, Long Out Yin shouted loudly, Come out. My Dragon God technique has already been trained to the 2nd level, watch how I take revenge today. It's all because of you, you bastard. I had to use the Earth Escape Talisman to escape to this desolate place, and even got poisoned by the love goo. You destroyed my dream of having a harem. The hatred between me and you is absolutely irreconcilable. Right after Long Out Yin finished shouting, Death Assassin suddenly appeared, giving Long Out Yin a fright. The imposing manner that he had just now immediately disappeared, and Long Out Yin immediately hid behind a tree. F***K. I have already trained my Dragon God technique to the 2nd level, what am I afraid of? Walking out from behind the tree, Long Out Yin pointed at Death Assassin and shouted, You, don't be arrogant. Let's exchange 1 move today. Let's agree on it. We will only exchange 1 move, whoever uses the 2nd move will lose. GGG. Imperial translation, no problem. Long Out Yin retracted his frivolous smile, squatted down slightly, and stared at Death Assassin with his pair of tiger-like eyes. His entire body immediately emitted out a powerful aura, and his pair of eyes gradually turned golden. Come over. Long Out Yin roared towards the sky. Death Assassin held onto the dagger and performed a horizontal stab. That night was a huge blow to Long Out Yin. He was completely unable to catch the opponent's speed, but now that his Dragon God technique had been trained to the 2nd level, he was clearly able to feel the opponent's movement. Long Out Yin slightly tilted his head, and a strand of his hair slowly fell onto the ground. Long Out Yin clearly felt it. I didn't expect that I would be able to dodge the opponent's ultimate move. The smile on the corner of Long Outyin's mouth became bigger and bigger, and soon after, he opened up his arms and laughed wildly. Ha! Long Outyin, have finally dodged it. The humiliation from that day has finally been washed away. Ha ha ha. Death Assassin looked at Long Outyin, who had already sunk into madness, and he really couldn't understand why Long Outyin would be so happy after dodging his most ordinary attack. Of course, Long Outyin was excited. In his heart, he had already treated Death Assassin as the strongest boss existence. From the start, he didn't even have the strength to fight back, to now that he was able to dodge the attack, how could he not be happy? How could he not be excited? Wait for me, Long Outyin, to train for a month. I will fight you again. Goodbye. Chapter 134. However, would the Death Assassin let him escape just like that? It was obviously impossible. He moved to block Long Outyin's path. What do you want to do? I said that I will only exchange one move with you. Are you thinking of admitting defeat? Long Outyin immediately panicked. If you have the guts, then let me hide for a few more years. When the time comes, I will be able to go all out. Death Assassin stretched out his thumb and index finger and poked it. Long Outyin was so frightened that he took a few steps back when he saw the white jade-like bones. He felt that the person who was chasing after him was not a human. He even asked for money. Calming himself down, Long Outyin took out his wallet and said, "Actually, I don't have much. The plot is just developing and it's not the final stage yet. I only have a few thousand yuan in my card and some change." Death Assassin took over the wallet and disappeared in an instant, leaving behind the stupefied Long Outyin. "I haven't told you the password yet?" Long Outyin mumbled. After saying that, he paused for a moment and immediately ran off. "Brother Long, why did you come back?" Seeing Long Outyin running back with a joyful look on his face, Meng Meng's face was filled with joy. Long Outyin pressed on Meng Meng's shoulders and said affectionately, "Meng Meng, I still can't let you go. I've decided not to leave." Meng Meng was stupefied. She was moved to tears. "Brother Long, you are really too good to Meng Meng. I still can't beat the other party." Brother Long is feeling bitter in his heart. Wiping away her tears, Meng Meng said softly, "Brother Long, I'll cook some noodles for you. Okay, add more sauce." "Brother Long, I hate you." On the other side, Death Assassin had already completed his mission and handed over the wallet with both hands. On the other hand, Death Mage only took out a few $100s, then threw his wallet to the side. "I'm going to deposit some money. You continue to look after Long Outyin." "Yes." Seeing that its master did not plan to take that woman away, Death Assassin continued to ask, "Master, this woman?" Death Mage took a look at Sun Fang, who had fainted. According to the bet, Sun Fang could be considered as his female slave. However, if he were to let a female slave follow him, the expenses that he would have to spend would become huge. Sun Fang still had to eat, buy clothes, makeup and sanitary napkins. Forget it, I don't want it anymore. Just leave it here." After saying that, Death Mage went to the ATM machine to deposit the money. Death Assassin took a look at Sun Fang, who was on the ground, then disappeared as well. The Southern Beauty, she could be said to be the goddess of the cultivation world, but right now she was being disregarded by two skeletons. The reason was very good: they were difficult to raise. Death Mage even took back the title of female slave. After an unknown period of time, Sun Fang faintly woke up. Sun Fang's beautiful eyes surveyed her surroundings, and after checking her own body, she heaved a sigh of relief when she discovered that she hadn't been violated. But when she thought of that bony face, Sun Fang clenched her fists tightly. She swore that she would never rest until she died. At this moment, Jiu Yi also left the winery and arrived at Long and City's Rank 1 shopping mall. He quietly walked into an arcade. "Lord Jiu, the master has been waiting for a long time." The man who spoke was the manager of the arcade, and his words carried a deep warning. Lord Jiu smiled and said, "Sorry, there was a traffic jam on the way." The man's eyes revealed an ominous glint. He turned around and brought Lord Jiu into the gaming hall. A man in a black cloak was sitting in front of a game console, seriously playing the game. I'm stupid. The two of them didn't even dare to make a sound as they stood behind him. Hovacha, edgy, however it was useless. He had lost. "Little Jiu, come and play." The man smiled, but he didn't turn around. Lord Jiu took a deep breath. "I don't dare." "Sit." The man patted the stool. Jiu Yi knew that he couldn't shirk away anymore. Rejecting once is respect, but rejecting twice is idiotic. Sitting beside the man, Lord Jiu was trembling with fear. This kind of situation was like standing in front of the boss of the bar. The man stuffed a copper coin into the man's mouth and began to select the person. "How's the situation at night?" the man asked as he selected. "Master, there's been an accident." The man patted Lord Joe's shoulder. "Don't be nervous. I won't kill anyone." Lord Joe thought to himself, "You are probably farting. Those people didn't die?" the man asked curiously. How could Lord Joe be in the mood to control the people inside? He said in a low voice, "I couldn't invite the owner of the bar, so he went to fight Xiao Yi's black robe." "How boring. I'm still counting on the boss of Qing Bar to be my gun." The man sighed. After a pause, the man continued to ask, "How strong is Black Robe?" "Powerful. Compared to the owner of the bar. Only stronger, not weaker." Lord Joe thought to himself. "What the fuck do I know?" The man stood up and took out a stick of cigarette. The manager immediately got angry. "Little Joe, you are too incompetent. This subordinate deserves to die. Master, please have mercy." Lord Joe immediately kneeled on the ground and begged for forgiveness. "What happened at night? Tell me about it." Lord Joe told the manager what happened. After listening to what happened, the man sneered. His calm face immediately revealed a sinister expression. "Spread the news. Ruin this woman's reputation for me. If not for this stinky woman, how would other powers be able to interfere in this matter?" Lord Joe immediately agreed. "How's the progress of the investigation at Qing Bar?" the man asked again. Lord Joe didn't dare to be careless and said seriously, "From the looks of it, if Black Robe is a person from Qing Bar, then his strength is the strongest. The second is that security guard. Yesterday, a youngster suddenly appeared, and his strength is also not to be underestimated. As for that boss, he seems to know summoning techniques. Last time he even scared Cloud Sect's Gen Yuan." "What's so difficult about scaring a small deacon from Cloud Sect? Is there anything else?" the man asked. "I have never seen him make a move, so it's hard to judge his strength." The man became silent and pondered in his heart. The boss of Qing Bar seems to be the boss, but his strength is the weakest. Could it be that he is a puppet that Black Robe set up to deceive others, and Black Robe is actually the boss of Qing Bar? This possibility is very high. If I obtained an ancient godly item, then I would definitely be able to easily kill Black Robe. However, the current situation has become complicated. Originally, he wanted to use tonight to test the strength of Qing Bar's boss. If Gao Shen killed all those people, then he could sit back and enjoy the benefits. Unexpectedly, he didn't go. Wrong. It's not that he didn't want to go, but Black Robe didn't allow him to go. After all, Black Robe is the boss in secret. How could Black Robe not go to such a big scene? If that's the case, then the boss is definitely Black Robe. "Xiaojiu, keep a close eye on that Black Robe," the man shouted in a deep voice. "Yes, master. This medicine is for you." "Thank you, master." Lord Jiu was overjoyed and hurriedly kowtowed to thank him. "Go and do your work." "Yes." After Lord Jiu left, the man clenched his fist tightly and muttered, "This game of chess has been played for 5 years, I cannot fail at the crucial moment. I will kill whoever dares to stop me." "Master, you have great fortune." The manager immediately knelt down and kowtowed. Chapter 135. Pay up. The hall downstairs began to be cleaned and closed. Wei Chang no longer wore a security uniform every day after work. He had learned to dress up. Uncle Wei, with a cheerful smile on her face, Tang Wei ran over and held onto Wei Chang's arm. "Uncle Wei, hurry up and go on your date. Leave this to us." Yeah. "Uncle Wei, you have to protect our store flower." The surrounding shop assistants jokingly shouted. Wei Chang patted Tang Wei's head and gently said, "Let's go." And Tang Wei even laid her head on her sweetheart's shoulder. It was getting more and more difficult for her to leave him, and all she wanted to do was to be together with Uncle Wei. Wei Chang was very lovable, but the boss upstairs was very annoyed. Yihua sat on the sofa in the office. The entire office seemed as if it was going to catch on fire. The entire office was filled with smoke and the ashtray was filled with cigarette butts. Looking at the time, it was already 12 o'clock. However, this woman was still stubborn. "I don't believe that you won't come and shout. Without my chest, can you fall asleep?" The clock on the wall kept ticking and Yihua's cigarette never stopped. Finally, it was 1 o'clock. "You're not coming? You want to sleep in separate rooms? Not bad, Qingya." He was getting bolder and bolder. "Go get the quilt first." Yihua stood up and opened the door of the office. The smoke in the office seemed to have found a hole to escape from, and it drilled out of the office without any regard for its life. Arriving at the door of the bedroom, Yihua prepared to open the door and enter the bedroom. Unexpectedly, the door was locked from the inside. This is truly going against the heavens. To actually lock me outside the door, what kind of wife is this? Yihua wanted to kick the door open, but he didn't. Yihua looked at the situation inside the house, and saw that Qinya was hugging onto a big doll, and with a smile on her beautiful face, Qinya was fast asleep. She actually fell asleep smiling. As for me, I actually have insomnia. If I don't sleep, don't even think about sleeping. Yihua knocked on the door, then returned to the office. Qinya, who was in a dream, wrinkled her eyebrows. Getting up from the bed, she opened the door, but who knew that there was no one outside the door? To think that you are a cultivator, these are all the actions of a child, humph. Qinya closed the door and continued to sleep. If you have the ability, then go ahead and sleep in the office. Yihua, who was in the office, snorted. There will be a day when you will beg me to go to bed with you. At that time, just watch how I will deal with you. What an arrogant woman. Yihua decided not to sleep tonight. I'm going to do something big tomorrow morning. Yihua turned on the television and continued watching Calabash Brothers saving Grandpa. The happy scene wasn't good at all, and Big Wolf was too cowardly. If it was Big Wolf himself, he would have slapped Big Wolf twice to show his true colors as a man. Since he had decided to pull an all-nighter, Yihua prepared spicy gluten, spicy bean skin, ice Sprite, cigarettes, wine, instant noodles, and so on. Awesome. Time passed by slowly and the sky began to turn bright. Hearing the sound of the door opening, Yihua's spirit immediately returned to him and he switched the television off. My sister-in-law is a lazy bug. Sometimes she wouldn't wake up before noon. The one who woke up so early must be Qinya. Hearing the sound of Qinya coming down the stairs, Yihua stood beside the window and looked at the alley. As expected, Qinya went to buy breakfast in the morning. Yihua's gaze flickered with a cold light. He went to his own bedroom and looked at his substitute. He was furious. He grabbed the big doll on the bed and tore it apart before tossing it above his head. Sunfall heavenly flame. Koanli hellfire. Sky ghost flame. Blazing sun burns the heavens. Buddha fire illumination. Looking from outside the window, the bedroom immediately became colorful. Yihua let out a heavy breath and muttered, "This is the result of replacing the original." After finished speaking, Yihua opened the door and left. The doll from just now had already been burnt to ashes by all kinds of flames. Doll, what fucking crime did I commit for you to do this to me? After returning back to the office, Yihua stood beside the window and observed Qinya's movements. 10 minutes later, Qinya could be seen to have returned with breakfast. Yihua extinguished the cigarette butt and waited for Qinya to go upstairs. Hearing those familiar footsteps, Yihua's brows wrinkled deeply. Unexpectedly, the footsteps stopped at the door. Unable to care about anything else, Yihua's body instantly disappeared and appeared on the sofa. The blanket that he was wearing fell onto the floor, and at this moment, the door was opened. Upon opening the door, Qinya wrinkled her brows. The inside of the door was filled with the smell of cigarettes and instant noodles. Looking at the man who was lying on the sofa, Qinya let out a sigh. Quietly walking over, she picked up the blanket that was on the floor and covered Yihua's body with it. Then, she placed the breakfast on the coffee table and casually opened the window of the room to let in some air. After doing all that, she left the office. The moment when the door was closed, Yihua opened his eyes. Looking at the blanket that was on his body and the jianbing that was on the coffee table, Yihua snorted, "At least you are sensible." Picking up the piping hot jianbing, Yihua looked at the amount of fillings. It should be an egg and a ham sausage. Biting down on it, it is rather fragrant. It is even better than the one that I bought myself. After returning back to the bedroom, Qinya went into a daze because the doll that was on the bed disappeared. It has only been 10 minutes, how could the doll disappear on its own? Unless there is only one possibility, that miser that was pretending to be asleep. Do you think that by destroying my doll, I will have to beg you to come and sleep? Stop dreaming. For me, Qinya, to be able to get to where I am now, how could I not have a backup plan? Opening the wardrobe, Yihua saw that the 3 dolls were covered by clothes. Yihua, seems like you are going to have to sleep in the office for a few more days. After finished speaking, Qinya laughed tenderly and even threw herself onto the bed while laughing loudly. Yihua is too cute to actually be so stingy. If I were to suddenly appear when he was destroying the corpses, I wonder what kind of expression he would have. Only until noon did Yihua go out and casually walked into the bedroom. Looking at Qinya, who was currently reading a book on the bed, he asked, "What are we eating for lunch?" "Anything." Qinya replied indifferently. Look at this attitude of his, he is simply looking for a beating. However, his performance in the morning was not bad. I will forget about it this time. I prepared some meat like the one that I prepared last time. Yi Hua said indifferently. From start to finish, his head was looking towards the other side, seemingly like he did not care about it at all. Qingye almost couldn't help but laugh out loud. Sometimes this fellow can anger me half to death, but sometimes he can amuse me to death. Look at that face of his that does not care about it at all. All right. Qingye replied indifferently. Yi Hua was only giving face to the Jianbing in the morning. If not, he wouldn't have given it to Qingye. Qing Yutong, are you eating lunch? Yi Hua knocked on his sister-in-law's door and shouted. Qing Yutong's soft voice came from the inside. Don't call me when you guys are eating, the one who gets hurt is always me. Today we are eating meat for lunch. Yi Hua added a sentence. Immediately, a hurried voice rang out from the inside, and the door was instantly opened. Qing Yutong had an excited look on her face. Brother-in-law, is that true? Yi Hua responded. Qing Yutong let out a cry and hugged onto Yi Hua like a koala bear. Get up. Your butt is itching, right? Qing Yutong immediately let go of Yi Hua. Brother-in-law, do you need my help? I can wash vegetables. Scram. Snort, snort, snort. At noon, Yi Hua prepared a high-class desolate banquet. On the surface, Qingye was cold and indifferent, but in her heart, she was extremely happy. Chapter 136. In the blink of an eye, it was already night. Just like yesterday, Yi Hua waited for Qingye to wake him up. Without the doll, let me see how you are going to sleep. Unexpectedly, after waiting for a while, it was already 1 a.m. Yi Hua decided to go and take a look at what was going on. Standing outside of the door, Yi Hua's face darkened. Why did another doll pop out? Didn't I burn the doll? Furthermore, Qingye didn't go out today and there wasn't any express delivery. MLGB. How dare you sleep with my woman? I will kill you tomorrow morning. Yi Hua decided to stay up all night and wait for Qingye to go out and buy breakfast. However, he had already stayed up all night once yesterday, and his body was truly a bit unable to take it anymore. Spirit repair. He cast a spell on himself and was instantly full of energy. He could even kill a Kuan with one punch. The night gradually receded. Yi Hua was waiting for Qingye to go out and buy breakfast. Yi Hua stood at the window and looked at Qingye leaving, then immediately ran to the bedroom. Meanwhile, Qingye, who was going to buy breakfast, secretly took a look at Qingye, then immediately turned around and ran back to the bar. Wait till I catch you, I want to see how you are going to explain yourself. Yi Hua came to the bedroom and looked at the doll on the bed. Sunfall Heavenly Flames X2. Kunli Hellfire X2. Sky Ghost Flame X2. Scorching Sun Burning Sky X2. Buddha Fire Illumination X2. Baby shouted in his heart, why am I A*2*? The one in front doesn't have one. Hearing the sound of hurried footsteps coming from the entrance of the staircase, Yi Hua's body faded away, and coincidentally the door was opened by Qingye. When Qingye saw that the doll on the bed disappeared again, Qingye laughed out of anger. This is simply the jealousy king of the cultivation world. However, Yi Hua had also become smarter. He knew that Qingye must have definitely bought a lot of things. At noon, Yi Hua sneakily ran into the bedroom again and sure enough, he discovered that damn doll in the wardrobe. To think that the damn doll is actually hiding in the wardrobe, waiting to sleep with my woman. Sunfall Heavenly Flames X10. Kuan Fire *10. Sky Ghost Flame X10. Scorching Sun Burning Sky X10. Buddha Fire Illumination *10. Wah. However, when night came, Qingye still did not come. Yi Hua was already on the verge of going berserk, and he really wanted to burn all of the dolls in the world. However, when he arrived at the bedroom and took a look, Qingye was not sleeping inside. Could it be? This woman was actually carrying her sister-in-law. I am going to burn my sister-in-law as well. Qingye, do you really think that I, the Supreme Overlord, can't do anything to you? Coming to the office, Yi Hua called Wei Chang and Lai Gu over. Your Honor. Your Honor. Yi Hua sat on the sofa, lit up a cigarette and said faintly, let's go out together the day after tomorrow. Wei Chang and Lai Gu's eyes lit up and soon after they said at the same time, we will solemnly obey your Honor's command. You two go make the arrangements. Wei Chang knew that this mission would definitely fall on him and said softly, Master, where are we going? I can book a hotel. Who told you I'm going to stay in a hotel? Camping. That kind of tent. Yi Hua shouted out gravely. These two brains have returned to the past again, right? If he were to stay in a hotel with so many rooms, wouldn't he still be able to sleep wherever Qinya wanted? Lai Gu was very depressed. He didn't say anything, but he was also implicated. Subordinate understands, but... Wei Chang stammered. He was too embarrassed to say it out. But what? Wei Chang swallowed his saliva and said nervously, Your Honor, in the past, subordinate was still all right when I was living alone, but recently I got a girlfriend and my expenses became bigger. Right now, even a mantou has to be eaten in 3 bites. Lai Gu had a look of disdain on his face. There is no one else who can be like you. Just like me, I have 3 female celebrities to support me and my life is so free and easy. That's why I say if you want to find a woman, you must find a woman who is rich, then live the life of a gigolo. It is very comfortable. Look at how His Honor is looking for rich people. Right now, the price of crayfish is at least 10 caddies. In the past, when did His Honor dare to be so extravagant? Looking at Wei Chang's depressed look, Lai Gu sighed. If you want money, look for Lai Gu. Yihua said coldly. Lai Gu's expression immediately collapsed and immediately said, Your Honor, subordinate is also poor. Hearing Lai Gu's words, Yihua and Wei Chang couldn't help but think back to the past. Every time Lai Gu was asked to fork out money, it was as if Lai Gu was asking for his life. Gold had almost piled up into a mountain, and Lai Gu still said that he didn't have money. Noticing His Honor's threatening gaze, Lai Gu immediately changed his words. Your Honor, subordinate still has a bit of money. Wei Chang, in the future, look for Lai Gu for all of the expenses. Right now, the business of the bar is getting worse day by day. All of you should save some money. Yihua said faintly. Wei Chang probed, What about madam? Upon mentioning Qinya, Yihua became unhappy and shouted out lightly, Can I even use that stupid woman's money? Why don't the 2 of you use your brains? This subordinate is slow-witted. This subordinate is also slow-witted. Yihua paused for a moment, then reminded, Are the 2 of you going to bring people with you the day after tomorrow? This subordinate will only bring little Tang along. I only have 3 celebrities with me, so I need someone to wait on me. Wei Chang looked at Lai Gu in disbelief. This bootlicking skill is truly not bad. Little Tang is a waitress, she can also be responsible. Wei Chang added. Yihua nodded his head. It's good that you have this intention. Wei Chang, you have to remember, don't buy too many tents, 3 tents is enough. Wei Chang was shocked. 3 tents. His Honor and Madam will definitely be 1, Lai Gu and his 3 celebrities will be 1, then I and Xiao Tang. His Honor is wise. To actually empathize with his subordinates so much, I am moved to tears. I will solemnly obey His Honor's command. Wei Chang said excitedly, even his tone was trembling. Yihua waved his hand, All of you can go back. Yes. Yes. After the 2 subordinates left, Yihua lied on the sofa and covered himself with a blanket. Why do I feel so miserable? Qinya, just you wait. As for Qin Yutong, Yihua definitely won't bring her along. What if Qinya sleeps with her little sister? Wouldn't this flawless plan of mine be ruined? Wanting Qin Yutong to cooperate with me is extremely easy, I just need to spank her butt and add meat in one go. Qin Yutong will happily agree to it. As long as I give her meat to eat, she will do anything. During dinner time, Qin Yutong rubbed her head and said, Big sister, I won't be going tomorrow, my head hurts. What's wrong? Qinya asked concernedly. I might have caught a cold. I told you to play less games but you didn't listen. After finished speaking, Qinya went to look for medicine. You're already so old, yet you are still making me worry. Qin Yutong blinked her beautiful eyes towards Yihua, and Yihua silently nodded his head. Her acting is not bad as expected of a movie empress. Qin Yutong endured the pain in her chest and ate the medicine. Big sister, you 2 can play at ease, I will look after the house. Qin Yutong said weakly, feeling as if she was going to die. Yihua felt that this was a bit exaggerated. As expected, looking at her little sister's appearance, Qinya said with concern, I think I will stay at home and take care of you. Yihua's heart sunk. Qin Yutong also knew that her acting just now was over the line. Her tone became a bit calmer. Big sister, I will be fine after sleeping for a while. Furthermore, I will be starting my live stream next week, I have to properly practice my skills. Qinya knocked onto her little sister's forehead petulantly. You are already so sick, yet you are still playing games. Let's see how you will be tomorrow morning. Although she was working together with her brother-in-law to lie to her big sister, the look of concern in her big sister's eyes really made Qin Yutong feel very touched. Qin Yutong could be seen hugging onto Qinya and said tenderly, Big sister, you are the best. Qinya smiled, caressed onto her little sister's beautiful hair, then looked at Yihua who was silently eating. She discovered that ever since Yihua appeared, The relationship between her and her little sister had also become better, not like before. Everyone rest early today, Yihua said faintly, then walked back to the office. Qingya snorted coldly. Qing Yutong let out a breath. These two obviously wanted to die, but they just couldn't put down their face. Why bother? Yihua, who was lying on the sofa, was in a very good mood, as if he could already see Qingya's expression of surrendering and then begging for forgiveness from him. Just thinking about that, Yihua laughed out. Dong dong dong. Come in. Wei Chang could be seen walking in with a weird expression. What's the matter? Chapter 137. Yihua's brows immediately wrinkled. The woman is waiting for me? And her emotions are very unstable. Wei Chang was also confused. Could it be that his honor had gotten into a relationship with her outside? If the madam were to find out about this, it would be troublesome. Yihua snorted coldly. It wasn't like this kind of woman had never appeared before. I will deal with her how I dealt with her in the past. Is there a need to tell me about this kind of thing? But this woman is different, Wei Chang said in a low voice. How is it different? Yihua asked gravely. Wei Chang said solemnly, Your Honor, you should go and take a look. Yihua let out a breath and glared at Wei Chang. You can't even handle such a small matter. Did you become stupid from dating? Wei Chang didn't dare to make a sound. This really isn't the problem of dating, this is the problem of Your Honor. Yihua walked down the stairs. There was no one else in the hall, all the employees had left, and there was only a beautiful figure sitting there. The beautiful black hair hung down to her waist. Just this back view alone was enough to give Yihua a high score. Furthermore, there was a sword on the right hand of the woman. Meanwhile, she was currently drinking wine and seemed to be rather vexed. If it was the Yihua in the past, he would definitely go and strike up a conversation with the woman and then have a wonderful night with her. Thinking up to here, Yihua couldn't help but recall a past event. That woman seemed to be in the same state back then. Yihua gestured to Wei Chang, and Wei Chang nodded his head and walked forward. Miss, our boss is here. The woman who was drinking wine slowly turned her head around and took a look at Yihua. Soon after, she started drinking again and said, He isn't your boss is a skeleton. Yihua was immediately startled. This woman actually saw through my true identity. Wei Chang walked over and said in a low voice, Your Honor, isn't this strange? Yihua nodded his head. Seems like this woman doesn't come with good intentions. Let's get some information out of her first. How did she know that I am a skeleton? That's right, this woman is Sun Fang. Ever since she returned that night, Sun Fang heard all kinds of rumors, all kinds of versions. On the second day, it was as if the whole world knew that she was tainted by a skeleton. As the sect master of Cloud Sect, to be tainted by a skeleton. This is simply even more unbearable than being killed. Just yesterday the rumor storm became even more shameless and despicable. A few elders of Cloud Martial School could no longer sit still. They begged Sun Fang to abdicate, otherwise Cloud Martial School's 1,000 years of foundation would become a laughingstock for everyone. Sun Fang also knew the seriousness of the matter. She didn't blame the elders. Everyone was thinking for this sect. As for Sun Fang, she had left the Yun sect yesterday. She had left the home that she had lived in for a long time. In her heart, she had thought of committing suicide. However, Sun Fang was unwilling. Even if she had to die, she wanted to drag that skeleton down with her. His reputation and innocence had been completely destroyed by the skeleton. In this life there was only one thing he wanted to do, and that was to kill that skeleton. Wei Chang pulled out the stool, and Yihua sat at the opposite of Sun Fang. He discovered that this woman was indeed beautiful, and her weak eyes seemed to have received a huge blow. How did you know that I am a skeleton? Yihua asked gravely, and his killing intent was revealed. Sun Fang was also a little dizzy from drinking too much. She misheard. She looked at the handsome guy in front of her and said, Because I saw it. He's a skeleton. I want to kill him. Yihua and Wei Chang were both stupefied. What kind of plot is this? Wasn't he jumping way too fast? Why did you want to kill skeletons? Yihua asked curiously. Sun Fang's beautiful eyes turned cold, and a fierce aura burst out from her entire body, because it tainted my innocence. My only wish in this life is to kill it. The skeleton tainted the lady's innocence? Yihua couldn't help but curse out, F***K. Wei Chang was even more stupefied. He asked curiously, Lady, may I ask, how did the skeleton taint your innocence? Bang. A silver light flashed and a sharp sword was placed on Wei Chang's neck. If you dare to say another word, I will take your life. Sun Fang shouted out drunkenly, and the sword that she was holding onto in her hand was completely unsteady. Yi Hua shook his head towards Wei Chang. Wei Chang naturally understood what his honor meant. As an undead, to actually have such a scum of the same race, Yi Hua decided to get rid of this woman. This woman looks rather pitiful. Recently, I have become a good person. Do you still remember the characteristics of that skeleton? For example, weapons and clothes? Yi Hua asked. Sun Fang's head was dizzy, and while swaying she said intermittently, It likes to play with my phone. It wears a black gown and it has a big scythe. It doesn't know how to speak and its mouth often makes GGG sounds. Hearing that, Yi Hua was confused. On the other hand, Wei Chang was stupefied. Isn't this the fucking death mage? The evil spirit that I summoned actually tainted a human woman. How is this possible? It is just a skeleton. How did it do that? Your Honor, subordinate has a matter to report to you. Wei Chang said in a low voice. Yi Hua silently nodded his head and conveniently called Lai Gu over. This damned skeleton is going to be stewed after I capture it. Your Honor, the skeleton that this woman is talking about, it is one of us. Wei Chang finally spoke out, and immediately he felt that his entire body had become light. Yi Hua and Lai Gu were both stupefied. It is an evil spirit that subordinate summoned out to handle some matters. Wei Chang continued. After a moment of astonishment, Yi Hua said faintly, Since it is one of us, then forget about it. However, we have to make things clear. If both parties are willing to do it, then we can just chase it away. If it is a one-sided forceful act, then we have to ask it to take responsibility. For it to even come to my place to cause trouble, what is this? Your Honor is right. I will call it over right now and have it confront this lady face to face. Wei Chang felt that it should be like that, just that. I really don't understand, how did a skeleton taint a human? Lai Gu said in a low voice. Damn, is the evil spirit that you summoned so good at flirting? Even I have some thoughts about this woman. Lai Gu, how can you not be disgusted to think about my little brother's woman? Tiske, I was just joking. Look at how anxious you are. I am a man who has mysophobia. Wei Chang chuckled. What a neat freak. Everyone moved to the toilet, and Wei Chang began his daily summoning. Death Mage. Under the overhead bridge, it was still the same position, it was still the same black gown, and it was still sitting on the scythe of death. The only thing that changed was Death Mage's phone. From a 10,000 yuan phone to a 1,000 yuan phone, even if it was late at night, Death Mage was still struggling. Bayu Biu. The surrounding vagrants' ears were all filled with cotton. Suddenly, Death Mage stopped and his body instantly disappeared. The surrounding vagrants felt that the flies in their ears had finally flown away, and all of them let out a breath of relief. Finally, they were able to sleep peacefully. In the toilet of the leisure bar. Can't you just choose a clean place to summon? Yi Hua said displeased. Wei Chang said respectfully, Your Honor, be at ease, I have already cleaned up the place. Can I lick it? Lai Gu pouted his mouth and said. Right at this moment, a black figure appeared. Death Mage went into a daze for a moment, and soon after, he didn't even dare to think anymore and kneeled onto the ground. Your Honor. Chapter 138. Death Mage stood up while trembling. This is my first time seeing His Honor's face. I am really too lucky. I'm too excited. We are both undead, but His Honor is so outstanding. I am left in the dust. Lai Gu grinned. Little skeleton, you are not bad. Your luck with women is not bad. Death Mage lowered his head, not daring to make any unnecessary movements and not daring to speak casually. Yi Hua said faintly, Come out and take a look. Everyone walked out of the toilet. Do you know that woman? Yi Hua asked gravely. Death Mage did not dare to be negligent. Your Honor, I know her. She said that you have tainted her innocence, is that true? Yi Hua continued to ask. Death Mage went into a daze. Tainted her innocence? Oh, with my fingers? Your Honor, this is purely framing subordinate. I hope that Your Honor can return subordinate's innocence. Subordinate's innocence cannot be tainted by a woman. Death Mage immediately kowtowed. This woman is too shameless to actually complain about me in front of His Honor. Isn't it just removing your title as a female slave? To actually make such a big fuss in front of His Honor. Hateful humans. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have made the bet. I lost again. Yi Hua took out a cigarette, and Lai Gu immediately got angry. Lai Gu breathed out a mouthful of smoke. Do you dare to say it clearly to her face? Subordinate dares. Death Mage said gravely. All right, we will be witnesses then. If you dare to lie to me, you should know what will happen to you. Yihua said faintly. His words contained a majestic might, causing Death Mage to not dare to make any small movements. Subordinate understands. Subordinate will confront this woman right now. Death Mage was rather angry as well. I didn't kill this woman, and yet, this woman actually came to disturb his honor's cultivation. Luckily, his honor didn't blame me. If not, even if I were to die 10,000 times, I wouldn't be able to absolve myself from the blame. Damn, this subordinate of yours is not bad. This show is definitely going to be fun to watch. Lai Gu said softly at the side. Wei Chang let out a sigh. How can my subordinate possibly get close to a woman? It is completely impossible. Death Mage could be seen walking over slowly and stopped 5 meters away from Sun Fang. Sun Fang turned her head and looked towards Death Mage, and the two's gazes intersected in the air. Confirmed gaze. I met the right person. When Lai Gu saw the gazes of the two of them, he couldn't help but sing out slowly. That feeling of deep affection seemed to be reminiscing about his mother dragon. Sun Fang was already drunk to the point of dizziness, but when she saw that skull face, her blurred eyes instantly surged with killing intent. Without saying anything, she raised her sword and rushed forward. To a person who was already drunk, their brain might be able to move, but their body would not be able to keep up with the rhythm. As a result, Sun Fang directly pounced into Death Mage's embrace. Wei Chang stretched out his hand and covered Lai Gu's eyes. Children shouldn't look. Lai Gu immediately slapped Lai Gu's hand away. What? You want to monopolize such a good show? What if she wants to take off her clothes? As expected, this is a good show. Yihua muttered. Death Mage was alarmed. This feeling doesn't come from the woman, but from his honor who is at the side. Sun Fang was feeling dizzy, and the long sword in her hand had already fallen onto the ground. Her small fist landed onto Death Mage's chest. Yihua and his two subordinates went into a daze. Why does this action seem so familiar? I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you, you skeleton, to actually forcefully kiss me and destroy my chastity. I'm going to kill you. Not only did this kind of tone not have any lethality, it was more like a woman who was acting coquettishly. For example, Yihua was able to sense that Qinya would often say some unrealistic things. This time, Wei Chang finally understood what was going on. It seems like it was his subordinate who forcefully kissed another woman, and the other party was the kind of woman who viewed chastity as her life. I'm going to kill you. While speaking, Sun Fang became drunk. To her, the past few days were too tiring. Yihua brought Wei Chang and Lai Gu over and said, Do you know your crime? Death Mage was greatly startled and immediately knelt down. Your Honor, please spare my life. Subordinate only lowered my head. She didn't resist, and subordinate didn't destroy her chastity. Then, before you kissed her, did you get the other party's permission? Yihua asked gravely. Death Mage actually started sweating, and after a while he said, Subordinate knows his crime. Yihua snorted, and Wei Chang and Lai Gu immediately stood there obediently. I have already told you two before. We are here to cultivate our humanity, and we have to look at things from a human's point of view. How could you go and forcefully kiss someone without getting the other party's permission? Fortunately, you are my subordinate. If not, I would have stewed you. Yihua gave out a severe criticism. Is it glorious for something like this to be spread out? For a subordinate to have to forcefully kiss a human, and that human came to me to reason with me. If this was to be spread out, where would my face be? Death Mage was exulted. Thank you, Your Honor, for not killing me. Tell me what happened once. Lai Gu, bring the hops over. Yihua sat down and said. Wei Chang added, I want the melon seeds too. Death Mage stood up and wanted to throw the woman who was in his embrace out, but in the end, he was stopped by his honor's gaze. Yihua said faintly, As an undead, you have to dare to take responsibility for what you have done. Since you have destroyed the other party's chastity, and the other party also came to me to reason with me, I will not be biased towards anyone. From today onwards, you will have to take good care of this woman. Your Honor? Death Mage really wanted to cry. Why did I end up in such a situation? I can't even protect myself and I still have to bring a woman along. Are you thinking of disobeying my orders? I don't dare. Lai Gu brought over the hops and melon seeds and Yihua said faintly, Tell me what happened once. In the following half an hour, Death Mage began his performance. Especially when it came to the climax, he was simply unable to control himself. Your Honor, this woman is too shameless. She coveted subordinate's appearance, and in front of everyone's eyes she even said that subordinate secretly kissed her. And now because of this she even came to Your Honor and disturbed Your Honor's sleep time. Subordinate blushed with shame. I hope that your honor can retract your orders. This kind of woman is truly not to be trifled with. After finished speaking, Death Mage lowered his head. Just now, I had already fought for my final chance. If I am still unable to get rid of this woman, then I will just accept my fate. Yihua did not say anything and was currently thinking about another problem. This woman's background is not small, she is actually the sect master of Cloud Sect. I reckon that I will be able to use her in some way in the future. For a woman like this to be compatible with my subordinate, just that, for me to make my subordinate use the honey trap, this is truly making things difficult for me. What do you two think? Yihua asked Wei Chang and Lai Gu. The two's hearts sunk. It's time for the exam again. I forgot to draw circles in the past. After a long while, Wei Chang said solemnly, Your Honor, subordinate feels that it is better to destroy a temple than to destroy a marriage. Since this sect master has taken a fancy to my subordinate as the sect master, I as the sect master should be happy. Hearing what Wei Chang said, Lai Gu's eyes shone. Your Honor, what gluttonous monster said is extremely true. This is a love that transcends races. However, when Lai Gu finished speaking, the three went into a daze. Soon after, they looked towards Death Mage's face, then looked towards Sun Fang who was in Death Mage's embrace. This fellow actually used his real body to make a human woman fall in love with him, and furthermore the human woman is a beautiful female sect master. This female sect master's taste is rather unique. If Yi Hua and the others were to reveal their real bodies, I reckon that other people would probably faint from fright. Yi Hua coughed lightly. He did not want to lecture his two subordinates and said, It is already quite late, this matter is decided, all of you can go back to your places now. After finished speaking, Yi Hua turned around and went upstairs. My little brother's woman has already come to look for me, and my little brother's woman is even more so, and yet, my woman is acting like that. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.